and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday, the 23rd of February, 2013. I think that's the year. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Robert Kemp.
Your date explaining prowess is in full effect.
It's excellent. Well, I was pretty certain of the day, and I knew the month. But then I was like, is it 2013? Jeez, that's
the one that doesn't change as often.
Yeah, exactly. And Zachary Burgess is here.
Rob was getting his word pronouncing skills going there as well.
I'm just warming up.
Make some dramatic pauses between every word.
I'm an old synthesizer. I need a bit of time to...
He does it for emphasis, full effect.
No, I'm not Tony Blair.
Christopher Walken style.
Yeah, take pauses and intonation where they really shouldn't be.
They don't need to be. Indeed.
Also commonly practiced by Shatner.
Power of Shatner.
The power of Shatner. The Shats. Is that the Shats?
Is that what he's known as?
The Shats.
I wonder if he'll be in, because they had Leonard Nimoy in the last Star Trek film, so maybe they'll rope in.
Does it have the whole cast of Star Trek, gradually filtering into the new films one at a time through the time
if George Takei is in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's got to be in there.
He's the one that'd be most likely up for it.
Yeah, he'd be way up for it. Yeah.
Actually, the Shats would be up for it as well. But it's like, how would they put them in somewhere? Would it be like
the same way they put Spock in? Retardedly.
Well,
in a dumb way.
Do you reckon they'd see their future in some way? And
it's not their future any longer, though. Because that's the whole point of that storyline.
I know, but they'd show the future of their current selves, and it would still be played by Shatner or something, and he'd be...
I don't think...
shouting Khan repeatedly in, a mental hospital.
I'm sure they...
Yeah, that would be a great scene. Khan!
Yes, Mr. Burke, everything is Khan.
That would be genius.
the slow, degrading illness of Kirk.
Well, got up to quite a lot in his youthful days.
No, that's assuming that Khan happens in that universe.
But isn't it rumoured to be Khan the villain? It looks like Khan.
Yeah, but that would just be the most ridiculous, It's like they're making sequels to the actual films in this alternate universe.
Yeah, it's not a sequel though. It's like a re-Khaning of Khan or something.
But Khan would have been about before all the time fuck-ups.
That's true.
He would have been born before everything got messed up.
His the whole reason he becomes a villain is because of something Kirk does, and maybe he doesn't do it now in this universe because of everything else has changed.
Is that right? Does he become a villain because of what Kirk does? I can't remember the plot.
I barely remember. I think Kirk strands him on a planet and then buggers off, and then comes you bastard.
That's right.
Well, we don't know how far forward since the last episode this one takes place. Stuff could have
presumably
happened.
Not that far.
Yeah.
He'll probably still be youngish Kirk.
Well, yeah.
I don't think that...
Kirkling.
He's middle-aged Kirk.
I seem to remember the Khan continuity is already screwed up, or they must have already retconned it, because... Khan's initial assault on mankind and war and stuff happened in 1993 or something, according to the original.
Time travel in one of those Star Trek films.
Well, no, he was genetically modified, and there were gene wars in the late 20th century, according to the 1960s series.
Oh, right.
And then he got time traveled into the future where Kirk was. But the trouble is now we're past that again, typically 2001 style. So they must have some kind of retconning for Khan, even in the this ridiculous film.
No, it still happened. We just don't know about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Happened in a faraway place.
But I thought that was the whole deal, that he was genetically modified and stuff.
I don't remember that bit.
I can't remember.
Carnosaur.
Yeah, exactly.
In the later films, there's definitely time travel though, so...
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah,
because they go in the modern...
they come back in time to save the whales!
That's right. And they come back to save the Earth in First Contact.
Well, yeah,
there's quite a bit of time travel, isn't there, throughout Star Trek, really. There's First Contact, there's... Even Generations, I suppose, is that... Well, no, Generations isn't really time travel, is it? I suppose they enter that weird place, don't they?
The Nexus.
Yeah, that's it.
Of crap.
Yeah, the Nexus.
Where you ride around on a horse but they talk boringly.
But there was that episode of The Next Generation, wasn't there, where they went back to the original Enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh, the Trouble with Tribbles. No, that's DS9, isn't it?
But they did do a Tribble. They went back to the episode with Tribbles, I think, with them, or there was something like that.
The Trials and Tribulations or something.
Something like that, yeah. There was Tribbles involved, I'm sure. So it was all going on at that time.
that was mysterious. And they had some hilarious, stupid jokes, like when they see the crappy Klingon makeup of the time that didn't actually have ridges or anything.
Yeah.
And they like turn to Worf, and they're like, "Why don't they have the ridges?" And he's like, "Yeah, we don't talk about that."
Excellent. So when did this happen?
Yeah.
These were outcasts.
There's some, yeah.
Apparently not that long ago. It's how long ago that happened.
Yeah.
It's like they only went travel through time, like 20 years or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not that. Well, it's like,
it could be
is it a century or something?
Yeah.
Are they different centuries, the next gen? And why are we talking about Star Trek in depth?
Khan!
I suppose because of Khan. Yes. God love Khan. I think he is. Who is it? What's his face? Who's in everything? Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch is the baddie.
I'm sure he'll be playing Khan.
And it's got that. Have you seen the sort of extended intro of?
I might not have seen the extended trailer.
Well, I don't know. It's like there's it's got that. Is it Noel someone or other? Played the boyfriend in the first series of Doctor Who with Rose.
Oh right, yeah.
He's a film director and likes to star in his own films. That kind of person.
Oh right.
He plays a role at the start of this involving
Is that a
his
black
wife
dude?
or something.
Can't remember.
Yeah,
That's right. I remember the British guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a role at the start of the film as well, which is odd.
Okay.
It's like, I didn't expect you to be there.
Mysterious.
It looked like a very different film at first. Like when you see this trailer, it's like, is this Star Trek? What's going on? And then all of a sudden you hear Cumberbatch, and it's like, oh well, there we go.
They Cumberbatched it in.
Yeah, Cumberbatch.
Man, he signed on to do something else. A whole bunch of stuff. He seems to be in every film going.
Doesn't really matter. He is pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I noticed that there was the new story on the BBC, new Ninja Turtles movie.
You're kidding.
By Michael Bay.
No! No!
Oh, that's going to... Actually, in fairness, that if it is Michael Bay and Turtles combined, maybe that's the perfect combination of bad makes good.
That could be work. That could work, potentially. I'd rather that than more freaking Transformers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got it right with the first film and then should have left it alone.
I didn't like the first one.
I don't know, it's like explosions suit like giant robots better than Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, but that's true.
The theme tune is the question.
Instead of having
Dubstep Turtles,
instead of explosions, you just want crazy martial arts fights. That's better than explosions.
Yeah, but can Michael Bay do martial arts fights?
I don't know.
Instead of explosions,
he can't make people act well. So.
It's like he's going to be directing Turtles then.
Actual he's misunderstood the brief.
It's like Ninja Turtles, fucking yeah.
Well, that's the other question. Is like, will it be just assumed that you know what the fuck is going on with Ninja Turtles, or will they actually redo the whole backstory?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
What, reboot it?
Where it'll be like, will it actually be like, oh, these turtles were mutated by radiation or whatever the fuck?
It's been long enough now that it's out of. For the audience it will probably be aimed at. It will be out,
do they care? It's just like giant robots from space. It was pretty much out of the blue.
That's true. But they did do like they didn't. You didn't need to know anything about trans.
No, exactly. But it's just like here's some giant turtles that are ninjas.
That could work.
They're just superheroes, basically.
I mean, they usually gloss over in these reboots the actual origin stories as quickly as they can, don't they? Yeah. And usually, if it's radiation in the 80s, 70s, 60s version, they replace it with a virus or something in this.
I don't think it was radiation in the Turtles. I think it was a biological thing.
Oh, was it? Oh, cool. That makes more.
Can't remember. There was most of the first Spider-Man reboot film, I guess, not this one, but
the other rather.
The Tobey Maguire one was origin story, really.
Yeah, but like I say, they replaced Atomic Spider with like Virus Spider or something.
Genetic
Spider.
Yeah.
They'll do the same thing. It'll be genetic bullshit or something, or whatever the flavour of the day is now. Maybe they'll have
horse.
Oh no, mutant horse powers.
That'd be awesome if we got mutant horse powers from eating horse meat by accident. Oh no! Suddenly I
isn't it prophetic how we were talking about Japanese pizzas that had the horse on them? And it was like, oh shit, they actually do. As it turns out, we were right all along.
Unfortunately, we don't tend to go for beef on our pizzas.
Well, depends. There's sausage and pepperoni. You know what's in there.
Pepperoni, they're all pork.
Don't you have
you assume they're pork. It might be horse.
Well, yeah, true.
You got ground beef on your pizza, so I'm sure, haven't you?
Sometimes.
We do this week.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Preempting the surprise.
Horse pizza.
The Japanese knew what was up.
They always know what's
in
up.
Europe.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Speaking of the Japanese knowing what they're doing,
Oh,
No, not yet. Actually, let's do this. I'll get back to it. I've got more random. I'll save some random for later.
you got a bit of all your base going there.
Right.
Japanese know what they're doing.
know what they're doing.
You know what you
Take
do.
off everything.
Take off every zig.
Move, zig, move, zig, move, zig. So then,
Do you want to kick us off then, Rob?
you! PS4 is a thing.
And it's called PS4.
And
Which
it's
is kind
called
of boring.
PS4.
Of course it's called PS4. What the hell are they going to call it?
I wasn't
They couldn't
expecting
call it anything.
I wasn't expecting any
They
different.
couldn't call it PlayStation something instead of just a number.
PlayStation 4 Orbis.
It's worked out really well for them, like not having stupid names.
I don't
like, when
mind.
they try and do it, like with Vita, it didn't work out too well.
360.
I don't think the Vita...
No, I'm saying Sony.
I know, but even so, most names for consoles are bad. Let's be honest.
No, there was some
No,
classics back in the
we've already
day.
discussed this before on this podcast, how actually console names were fine.
Dreamcast, fucking awesome.
Dreamcast is a good one.
GameCube was pretty
is
good.
awesome.
Yeah. Revolution would have been good.
Let's just pull up the most obscure thing we possibly can.
Jaguar.
Wonder Swan.
Exactly. Yeah, but I mean the main ones, like Mega Drive or Genesis, that's fine. Saturn.
I never really liked Game Boy Advance.
No, that was a bit dumb.
And
Well, that was just because it should have been advanced with a D.
probably.
Then everything would have made more sense. Like Advance Wars.
I don't really.
What does that mean? Advanced Wars?
They're
Does that make
advancing.
sense?
They're advanced wars. It's like an instruction to wars. Advance.
I don't really like the DS name because it's
No.
literally what it is. The Nintendo Dual Screen. It's like no.
Yeah, but that's
At least it rolls off the tongue, but it's a shit name.
it's a non-imaginative one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the good ones are.
Oh come on, Wii. Let's be honest. And Wii.
Well, obviously, that's terrible.
Exactly.
I know
Quite
that.
a lot of bad console names, is what I'm saying. 360 is a pretty terrible name subtitle for a console as well.
It's about middle ground, I'd say. 360. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's fine.
Xbox as a name is fine, but
Yeah.
as a subtitle, I mean, what are they going to call the next one? Really, they can't call it the 720. That
I'm
makes
just
no
worried.
sense.
I've been worried for years.
Or are they going
Like,
to call it Durango? Literally,
even before? No, they won't do that. Even
That's a
be-
bad code name. It's like
Yeah.
Orbis, it sounds kind of cool, but Durango just sounds like...
PlayStation Orbis would have been cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Durango is like those government things.
Actually, in
Whatever
fairness,
those are called. They're called Durangos, aren't they?
No, that's Quango.
Quangos, that's what I'm thinking of. It sounds like that, and I'm like, so the next Xbox is going to be a shitty government program that gets shut down.
Quango is quasi non-governmental organisation, isn't it? They're independent of the government.
But they all get shut down.
yes, quasi-autonomous non-government organisation.
Yeah. But they're usually shit, and they waste lots of money.
Yep.
But the classic one of
There's like
of
a wine
awesome,
one, isn't there? There's like a Quango for the wine selection.
Is there a wine Quango?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to join that. I want to work for the wine Quango. That'd be great.
That might have been one of the ones that got shut down, but the list that they had is pretty ridiculous.
Government office for wine.
Yeah, that kind of shit. It exists. Or did.
Off Vino or something.
Off Vine.
Off Vine. The classic code name that should have been the real name is Revolution, because that was genius.
Yeah.
And they ditched that. Dolphin was alright.
But then again, well, yeah.
Whereas code names go. But
Yeah.
usually they ditch the code names, and they will do for the next one. But I've been worried since the original Xbox that the next Xbox would be called Xbox Next because it has an X in it, and it's like that would not be
Then
a
you
good
could put
name.
them, like, cross over
Yeah,
the words.
but it's too fucking obvious not to eventually happen, and it's not good.
And it doesn't make sense because it's not. If you're going to keep the brand about, then it's kind of crappy, isn't it? Then they might use it for an ad campaign, but not for the console name. I
Maybe.
think.
Well, they kind of did it with Game Boy Advance. That's kind of the equivalent
I
of
suppose
Game
you're
Boy
right.
Next.
Yeah, but you could have more advanced next time.
More next. Next.
Next to it.
I think, so that's always been my fear, that it will turn out to be called Xbox Next. So stay tuned and hope it isn't.
They'll probably just do what films do or games do and just call it the Xbox.
Yeah.
The Xbox, that'd be brilliant.
That's what they should have always done. It's like why there was that like sort of semi-rumor before the Wii U came out that it was just going to be called the Nintendo because it's funny.
And that's kind of how everyone...
That's kind of cool.
How everyone kind of refers to the Nintendos as that.
Yeah.
The Nintendo.
Makes more sense for
the Ultra Nintendo.
Actually,
The Mega Nintendo.
I'm on it, NES and SNES. If it wasn't for their acronyms, or
Yeah.
I suppose it's an acronym. They're shit names.
but
Entertainment.
That was like the first ever thing. It's like they had to spell it out because no one knew what the fuck it was.
It wasn't even. It's only called NES
Console.
in America anyway. On
Yeah,
here.
that's
I mean,
it.
it's actually called the Famicom.
Famicom.
Yeah.
Which
Which
is
I guess
still a kind of shit name because it's not a family computer as we think of it, is
No.
it? It's,
Kind of was at the time, I suppose, but yeah. Not
But is
quite,
Famicom actually from Family Computer?
yeah, apparently.
Even in Japanese?
Yeah.
I think so.
They were trying to, Super Famicom. Super's okay. Adding Super to stuff. Super Xbox.
That'd be great. Super Xbox, Super Wii would have been better than Wii U. Super Wii.
I don't know if it would have been.
Super Xbox Arcade Edition.
Or the Swii, as it calls.
As long as they don't do an Apple and just they will and just call it the new Xbox or whatever, and then just drop the usefulness of actually having like a number to identify what your hardware is. Because
Who cares?
I don't know. It's
It's a
kind of,
console that's meant to last like 7 years.
Yeah, I know, but I just-
no one cares.
yeah, okay, maybe in console land it's a bit more acceptable, but in like phone land and iPad land, it's a shitty way of doing things because you have to then go through like, I've got the 4th generation iPod Touch, or
I think my brother had a problem with that when they launched the slim Xbox, the smaller Xbox 360 design.
yeah.
Was internally or whatever they were doing the website for it and stuff, and it's not called the slim. It's just called the. It's not
The
called
new
anything.
Xbox,
The new
no,
Xbox, yeah.
I think-
So that was really irritating.
I think some people called it the S, kind of like how they did with the.
but none of that's official.
No,
yeah.
like how when they changed the Duke to the smaller Xbox controller,
the S controller.
the S.
Yes. So anyway, names out the way.
Yeah, PlayStation 4. It's fine as far as names go. Actually, while I'm on it, PlayStation. I don't really like that as a name either.
Fine.
We've definitely discussed this before.
Yeah, it's a station for play. They said that a lot during the thing as well. It's during the event meeting, I suppose they called it the PlayStation meeting. Nothing like a meeting. There was no discussion. It was just people talking at you.
It was an event thing.
They constantly used the phrase like it's a new dimension in play, and it's like whenever they say it like that, it makes it sound more like games are no longer a kids thing, really, are they? Like,
It depends, doesn't it?
the industry, the concept of it is bigger than just a kid's toy, which would have been 10 years ago. That's probably kind of or longer. You would have said that was the impression people had, but it's more than that now. So whenever they call it like play.
I don't know. Maybe they don't have that same connotation of play as being just for kids. Like
I don't know. Yeah,
Like,
it's just the way the
What
word
else did you
sounds.
say? It's like a new dimension in gaming. Then
Yeah.
you sound too hardcore.
No, it's fine. Gaming's fine. Although then they're
I
supposed
don't
to
like gaming. I don't like that word or gamer either. Or gaming is or gamer. It's playing games, and I'm a person who plays games. I'm not a gamer. I just don't like it very much. I don't know. I know it's
You're a
here.
computerist.
I get that it's here to stay now, but a gamer just I don't like it.
Gamer's a useful term because weirdly it does only apply to people that play video games. It's not like people who hold shoots for pheasant and stuff. They're not really called gamers, are they? Or...
Well, you get war
I don't
gamers.
think that was ever the case.
No. But what I'm saying is like
You're thinking of the one other thing where game is a word.
Well, yeah. I mean, the other forms where game is a thing, like gaming, for instance, can apply to gambling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. It's like the State Gaming Commission or whatever.
Exactly. Gaming
And it's
is
like,
gambling. Yeah.
But but conveniently, the term gamer at least is kind of. Its meaning is defined and has that one definition.
I think
which
gamer
is probably find better than gaming by that logic. But
Did it not used to apply to like people who did tabletop and D&D and stuff like that?
Probably.
it probably still does actually. But like kind of.
Because it was like Wargamer was the original
Yeah, exactly.
But you're
on tabletops.
Yeah,
But that was always that was always more of a niche, I think, than video games. probably. So it's like, when you say gamer, it's like
it wasn't more of a niche. It was probably about equally niche. It's just that gaming then became bigger.
Yeah, so it's now the popular word of choice. Whereas tabletop gamer, you probably have to disambiguate. That's the word I was looking for. Disambiguate if you're a tabletopper. Unless you just say D&D and they're like, right, okay.
It's just something about the word I get that it's useful. I just don't really like the word gamer, really. I don't know what I'd say myself. Probably something long-winded like video game enthusiast or something.
Well, that's how you'd say it on your CV, I suppose. I'm a video game enthusiast.
It doesn't say you're a player.
Yeah. I'm a player.
Should we do this in order?
Okay.
We're doing so well so far.
How we do the E3 stuff.
Have you got your notes?
Yeah, I made notes.
Oh, we're all ready to go.
Jesus, how many notes did you take?
Just to remind me of everything that fucking happened.
Oh, okay.
I remember, right, and this was a key point, because I kind of started zoning out during the first half hour, because nothing really happened other than throwing buzzwords and talking shit.
Well, he was doing the important, actual information.
The first half hour, before they even got to the useful information, and I didn't bother to write his name. It was Mark Cerny.
Yeah.
Before he came out, I don't like that guy. Who is that Sony?
The new Sony guy.
Yeah, the beardy Sony guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him. He seems. I don't know. There's something about him that makes him seem untrustworthy.
Why do they always hire these weird British guys to be the
guy they had at E3
in suits
for the last couple of years? Is it Jack Tretton? Trenton, yeah. He's all right.
It's crazy, though.
Well, he seems more sincere. I don't know, there's something about the way he says things, like when they apologised for the PSN hack and something like that. He did that with such class, really. It was well handled. Mm-hmm. I think since then I want him to be the Sony guy in the same way that I want Fizune and Miyamoto to do all the Ninty stuff and no one else.
You don't actually want Miyamoto to do the Ninty stuff.
No. The best person for
you only want him to do one thing and then go away.
The best person for Ninty stuff is Iwata. He's way better than any of the others, I think.
Oh, yes, I always forget Iwata.
I'd much prefer him to Reggie.
Stare at bananas.
And he can speak English really well. He's great. Anyway,
I was just making the point that they went on about buzzwords and the marketing speak for a really, really long time.
I don't think it was that long.
It was pretty long. It was at least half an hour, which is like a quarter of the show. And then finally they came out and they start talking hardware and stuff, which is nice. It's
cool.
Well, first point, it's a PC, basically.
Yep. Well, they both are. We knew that.
Just they've moved bits around, so it's a bit more convenient. Like the one nubbin we got officially out of them was that they've put the CPU and GPU pretty much right next to each other. So
they're on the same die.
Yeah.
So they literally are the same chip.
Yeah, so there's no communication lag.
That's awesome.
Or less communication lag anyway, so it's, in theory, much better. And then, of course, the first major reveal was the controller, I suppose. We already knew that was coming.
Yeah, we had a good leak of that.
The images they ended up showing were a bit different, I think. There were plenty of other leaks that kind of all had the same idea, and it seems to have gone through a few revisions.
I liked one of the ones that were
I'm sure the ones that were leaked were dev hardware versions.
Yeah,
they're always
different. So they've refined it since then. And it's interesting that there's been a number of them, if you know what I mean. So they're the ones that dev kits have. Everyone seems to have a different controller that is essentially doing the same functions, but is very slightly different.
I thought one of the leaked images, plush-looking marketing images of a controller that was on Reddit a while back, looked actually, it was the same design, but in terms of it had the touchpad and everything. But I thought it looked a lot cooler because it had than what they showed at the event, because it had that pattern on the touchpad, just like on the Vita, the back of the Vita.
I've still seen that image flying around. So that the one they may have had on stage may not have been the final design or something.
That's
this one is the more final design, but
that would be cool because I prefer the look of that one.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen versions.
On stage.
I've seen versions
that look a little bit of a pointless pattern.
No, it looked a lot better just in general. It wasn't. It looked like the one that they showed and that you've seen in the leaked dev. Actual pictures of it. The touchscreen looks kind of weirdly recessed and strange, whereas it was flush on the
Yes, I hope they do go with that design because it does look nicer.
Yeah,
I don't like how they've made the circles underneath the buttons and the D-pad's all shiny. That just looks kind of weird.
Circles. Oh, what you mean the actual control sticks?
No, like the backing plastic around
that was
the
different
buttons.
on the Leaked image as well. So,
You're right. I'm not so sure about that one.
So I'm not sure it's actually final, although obviously the actual inputs are final.
They've changed the D-pad a few times, as it seems, through these designs. Like one of them had a slightly more contoured thing, rather than being like the flat triangles that we're used to. It was kind of a bit more. So the middle of it was sunken a bit, not quite like the Ninty D-pad, naturally, because the patent law still stands, but it was kind of curved towards the middle, so it was a bit more, presumably a bit nicer to rest your thumb in there.
Cool.
And a little less painful.
Whoever uses the D-pad anyway, so...
Well, some people that play beat-em-ups tend to use it.
And then they get a stick.
I guess it's one of the best. It's been one of the best ones going for a while, I suppose, hasn't it? I don't know. The Sony one? It's alright.
It's okay. It's
better than the Xbox one.
Yeah,
the Xbox one is like the biggest pile of shit ever.
Yeah, it's the worst thing ever,
Yeah, I do prefer it to the Xbox one, but it's still... The problem I've always had with the PlayStation one is because it's like the 4 separate bits, is it can irritate your thumb after a while. Unless you're literally just pressing it like in big sweeping.
So did it have the 4 separate bits on what they showed?
The one they showed, I think, does.
Right. We'll see.
So they're keeping the classic look for that.
The classical look.
Yeah. So the big thing is obviously the touchpad on it, which they didn't really, throughout the entire thing, really show us what the main use of that was going to be.
Well, the main use of it is going to be nothing.
Yeah, people will just end up not using it. Like as
like
Zach and I were talking about it before, like 6-axis. It's not that there was anything really much wrong with 6-axis. It's just I don't know. There seems to be a bit of a negative thing about it. Like There's not been many good implementations of 6-axis, let's be honest, and when they are, they're often a minor addition, like setting explosive charges in Killzone 2, for instance, or... Yeah, they appear occasionally, and they're not usually that bad an addition when they do. I'm trying to remember, there was a couple of games, or it might have been like Heavy Rain in places or something, where the actions required you to shake the controller and things, but it made sense in that context.
Yeah, but it's fine when it's just like used as another button. It's when they try and base a game around it that it goes horribly wrong, as was evidenced by any game that tried to use 6-axis motion controls. It's like that; it just doesn't work well enough to be base the whole control system.
Well, I don't know. As I think I'll try to explain to Zach before, like I think some of 6-axis failure came from Layer, because that was such a bad implement. It was a pretty bad game to begin with, but then, or it could have been better if they hadn't done a ridiculously terrible 6-axis control scheme on there. And this wouldn't have been one that would have been improved by better tech. It's just that it was terribly thought through, and it was so like if Layer hadn't come along and been the first real 6-axis game, I suppose, maybe the development would have looked more favourably on it in future iterations. But anyway, touchpad, you're right. I'm not sure of its use so far. Maybe there'll be some elements. Maybe they purely put it in there for like Little Big Planet or something, so you could draw stuff on screen and have it come to life or something. Or maybe they want to do some doodling things. But I don't know quite how much you'd be able to get away with on that tiny screen. Or not a screen, tiny thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, yeah, not sure. We don't know.
I mean, in a pinch, you could use it for a mouse cursor on a web browser if you had to, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But it's not ideal.
So, yeah. The other addition is... what did they do with the start and select buttons on the final version? Because I've seen... I can't remember which one they actually finished on.
It's got share and options either side of the touchpad.
Okay, so
it's quite nice big buttons, so they are there. So no start, no select. But, I mean, I assume the options button does what the start button does. And if you think about it, start has been a misnomer for like 10, 20 years. So,
and I guess
has been pointless.
And select has been completely unused. So
but act as a...
presumably.
And it's the same on the Xbox, really. Back was never the back button.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I quite like having a start button because start is pause. If you know what I mean, it has that.
But I'm assuming
and just the first button you pressed at start to go from the main menu into the game.
Apart from when you don't.
Yes,
some games
or
do.
X. Yeah. I'm thinking that options is the equivalent. It's on the right-hand side, the options one, next to all the rest of your controls.
The
so
PlayStation buttons are gone as well as a result.
Has it?
Yeah, I don't remember the PS button being there.
I thought that was at the bottom in the middle, but perhaps not.
I guess I'm not now. But anyway, I'm still not sure about whether the share button should really have been a dedicated thing. If you know what I mean, could it have been served by going into the menu and then having a share option there?
I get it.
One more step though.
They want to really.
And since they got rid of select, it's just like we've got free space for an extra button.
Oh, I know, but that button is useful if you play multiplayer games. Like or it can be a shortcut to something in things like it's used. Is what I'm saying. The back button on the Xbox is used. It's like it's your quick bring up. I want to bring up the scoreboard.
Yeah,
like tab would be on a PC, or I
want the fucking D-pad because inevitably there's always somewhere.
The D-pad is used in COD and it's used in Halo as well. It's like it's used, so you couldn't put it there.
It's like there's like 4 shoulder buttons you can.
But they're all used. That's what I mean. It's like back is kind of out of the way, in a sort of like.
Or just make it a touchbutton button. There you go.
That's what they'll be.
There'll probably be a swipe
a gesture or something.
Or just touch it, particularly for scoreboards.
Swipe in your
just
scoreboard.
Push anywhere on the touchpad to fade in the scoreboard.
Yeah, perhaps. But then if that's.
Or hold on the touchpad too.
But then someone will be trying to shoehorn a mechanic onto the touchpad maybe, and then they won't be able to do that. It's just...
I get why there's a dedicated share button. It makes sense for what they're doing. Because they want to really highlight... I mean, they've gone to a lot of effort to do the sharing functionality, which we're going to talk about. So I get why there's a dedicated button. I think it makes sense.
I don't know.
It is, isn't it?
I'm not so sure. I don't think most people will find themselves needing to push it very often.
No, that's true, but that doesn't stop them
needing to push it. Like, no one needs to share shit.
So should we talk about the actual sharing stuff? So the key thing seems to be that it's got a secondary chip on it, which is presumably a low-power ARM chip, which provides 2 benefits, one of which is background downloading, which is clearly awesome, even when the main console's mostly powered off, which is nice.
I take it back. It does still have the PS button. It's just a lot lower than it used to be. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So they're either side of the touch. Those things are that one's and options on the right.
I thought it was dumb how everyone was super enthusiastic about like the standby mode and like
I think it's cool.
Shut it down and then restart your game where you left off, and it's like. Have you guys not lived in a house where you pay a power bill?
Well, I don't know, but there's
no.
If it acts like the iPad, for instance, I mean, I know it's a considerably lower power device, but when that's off, in inverted commas, it's pretty much using no power at all. That thing can be sit around for a good couple of weeks. I think I've had it just not on that mode, and it'll still have plenty of power left when I push the button. It's kind of nuts, really, how long that thing can last.
I think it'll even use more power than people will be accepting, and they'll be like, "Oh, now it's just like our TVs. You have to turn it off standby because standby uses too much power."
I was going to say,
or alternatively, it won't actually be as awesome as people think it will. When you push the button, and it will still take 2 minutes to actually start everything back up.
But that's the point. They're trying to avoid that. They're trying to go into an iPad suspend.
They're trying to, but I'm not sure they can. I'm pretty sure.
I think it'll work as advertised. It'll work like the PSP did.
Yeah, which works pretty well.
All they do is dump the RAM into memory, onto the hard disk.
They think they leave it in memory, don't they? Just have that memory just just enough power to keep it in memory.
Right. Okay.
And then just turn everything off regarding it, and when it comes back up, it's like, well, we just.
I think for something that's running off mains power, it's not going to be as fast as people think it is.
Well, we'll have to see, but it seems if they can pull it off, it seems like a really cool feature. I think
if it's on mains power, it's got more power than anything else. It should be faster.
Yeah, it's all charging capacitors and shit, isn't it? Really, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it will work.
How long does it take your TV to turn on? That should be always instant from standby, shouldn't it? But it's not.
And that's because they've got a lot of lamps to power, and the lamps warm up on a.
That's true. Yeah. But I think it'll be pretty, as advertised, pretty instant to start and stop it. I mean, it will use more power than turning the whole thing off, obviously, but it's not. I don't think it'll be too expensive.
Oh, and the other very important thing about that is when it's on standby, how much noise does it make? Because you remember how ridiculously loud the Xboxes are when they're doing background downloading when they haven't fully powered off. It's still listen to this fan go.
It's not really a proper low power mode when
that's true.
It's mostly on.
That's the thing. It shouldn't need any active cooling when it's just running on that secondary chip.
Yeah.
It should be effectively silent when you...
Well, the PS3, even when it's in the state that I have it most of the time, which is because I barely use it with the little red light on the front. That's drawing a couple of watts, something like that. It's pretty low, but it still has enough. Even the PS3 has the capability of knowing, oh hey, if you had, I forget what the PlayStation TV thing was that I had. But when there was a program I'd queued up to record on it, it had enough juice to for that program to say, hey, you know what, you need to turn on so you can record this program, or hey, you've scheduled to do a download or something at this point. Do you want to turn on? For PS Plus users, it's like the capability is already there in PS3, so I don't think it's going to make much. The fact is that in PS3 it has to turn on pretty much fully to do any action. Whereas PS4 has been designed in theory like for things like downloading and stuff to work on this low power chip, which will obviously raise its power rating a little bit when it's on standby when it wants to do these things. But
I think it's very well thought out, these things.
Well, yeah,
and cool.
When you think about it, actually, like you only need about the same power as that your mobile really runs on to do.
Well,
to do a lot of these tasks.
Probably the same chip as in a mobile phone, maybe less powerful even, probably doesn't need... The key thing that it needs to be is specialised to do the constant hardware encoding of video.
Yeah, that
which is amazing.
I mean, my question with that is like, because it goes back, 15 minutes, they said?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's quite a long way.
It's a big buffer.
Yeah. And it's like, well, and they said it's a hardware encoder, so there's a chip obviously on there, so it's not impacting the gameplay.
No.
But then it's like, where is this being stored? It's like some
the hard disk that they haven't specified how big it is
yet. Yeah, but then again,
that's a good question.
But if that's a load, where's the load for doing that? It's like, is it going to slow? Is the constant hard disk access going to cause some kind of longevity issue, or is it going to cause some kind of slowdown somewhere? Or have they come up with some specialized memory?
Maybe it needs its own flash storage.
That this thing writes to.
Just shove it in the RAM.
But then
no, they can't do that.
8 gigs.
They can't do that. That's all for gaming. But then super RAM.
But then, more worryingly, what does that mean for the price? Because this is a whole lot of hardware.
It's not the chip, the extra chip that's going to impact the price. It's that 8 gigs of RAM. That's what's going to really... The fact that they've done that...
GDDR5 is not cheap.
It's very expensive, and they doubled it at the last moment, which is fascinating that they've done that.
Because was that as a result of the supposed Xbox leak? Because they wasn't the Xbox the one with the more RAM in the
that's right.
documents.
So now they have equal amounts of RAM, but the PS4
is the one that has this ridiculous
speed RAM, which is going to be not cheap. But I think it's cool because give them masses of playground. I think what it basically means is I don't think the Xbox specs are going to change at this point. So I think it means that the PS4 games for the entire generation are going to look slightly better.
Oh, no, but you know what it also means? I just realised.
They said that about 3.
But that's different because those were completely different architectures. Whereas now they're virtually the same architecture.
True, but you could argue that Killzone and stuff like that, despite people working on specific PS3 games, they don't really push the boundaries that much further than what a lot of Xbox stuff can do. If you put Gears of War 3
up against
side by side against Uncharted, they're both very good looking games, and they're both technically equivalent in my eyes.
I've just realised what 8 gigs of extremely fast RAM means, because they sort of were saying it where it's like, it's the freedom to do shit, and but what that actually means is terrible PC ports again, because now they've basically said now you don't have to work into the limits of RAM, just do whatever the fuck you want with RAM, we don't care, and then it's like, oh shit, now our PCs don't have enough RAM to keep up. Terrible PC ports, ho!
Yeah, there aren't many PC games that make use of 4 gigs at the moment. So it's
because the thing is, your PC RAM is a lot slower as well than that.
Yeah,
you're talking. I've got 8 gigs of DDR3, and then I've got 2 gigs of GDDR3 probably on my graphics card.
Yeah.
So combined, that's I mean, but then you've got.
That's a question. Can games use the GDDR memory on a PC, like for things other than texture data and stuff?
I don't think so. I don't think you can optimize that way. No. It's interesting that they've done it this way, which is really cool, actually. Yeah. I'm not actually sure how it works on the current gen consoles. I think they probably have separate memories.
It's sort of a shared RAM
or is it
system.
A shared pool? Yeah. Okay. But anyway, this is, I mean, it's incredible. It's really advanced because the most high-spec video card you can get has like 6 gigs of GDDR5 on it currently. I mean,
it does make the thing that the PS4 is probably going to be able to push slightly faster than the Xbox on specs alone. Let's put it that way.
I reckon so.
But again, but regardless of architecture, you could argue that PS3 was designed that way, and we haven't really seen that. And it's like,
I think the architecture is the key issue, though, because it was a really weird custom architecture, and now you're going basically a
perhaps,
PC.
but you've got almost twice the power, theoretically, of an Xbox in a PS3. And it's, I don't know, it'll be interesting. But I have to come back to the key point, which is always prevalent with me, is that, and this makes me sound like a fanboy, is that Sony never really quite get the support side of their machines right. It's like I'm endlessly impressed by the tech they come up with.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they never quite nail everything to use it.
It seems like they're trying harder this time, though.
They're trying a lot harder. I mean, bits of the interface is obviously taking hints from, say, the current Xbox Dash and a big chunk from Big Picture, actually.
Could just go for it, yeah.
I mean, which is no bad thing. I mean, they're both very good interfaces, and the new one, although looking derivative, which is unlike Sony,
it looks usable.
It does look usable. I mean, yeah, they borrowed things like live tiles. The videos in place look kind of cool. In some places, it's a bit of a mess. But, that stuff can sort of change. Some of the mock-ups they showed
I think Windows 8 looks like a mess. I don't like those tiles at all. It's just like... Or like, I don't even like websites that do it, where it's like, here's a photo stream where it's just randomly sized pictures, but we've arranged them into a nice column for you. It's like, fuck that shit, give me pages or something.
I don't know.
I hate that web design.
I really like it.
I'm making a site with that design, but it suits my site. Because it's not retarded photos.
Square images is your thing. Really. And then, but yeah, I love that design. I think it works really well. Live tiles are a great thing. And they probably weren't, probably weren't invented by Microsoft, but Microsoft kind of got that layout right and made it work. So I'm kind of all for it, provided. But there was the social stuff that they showed, like
I'm halfway.
like when they viewed a player's profile, for instance, and like some of that
beardy bloke, like incredibly good-looking beard bloke.
Some of that layout looked a bit messy and and it kind of clashed with the background a bit. There's a bit. I think there's a bit of work there to clear it up.
But it didn't seem like they were going for like a color theme this time. Like
it was almost all blue.
Well, not so much though, because it was like, let's have some tiles, and the tiles are random bright different colours.
Oh, but the background doesn't animate anymore.
The most important feature.
God damn!
I want my wavy ribbon.
I want to put that on the back of my website if I can work out how to do a wavy ribbon of doom. That's awesome.
I like the Sony wavy ribbon.
Or all those other animated backgrounds you can buy for £1.
Yeah, fuck those. Oh yeah, but they're just like 1 second video loops.
Yeah,
they look like purely awful. There's a good aquarium one that Jay has, and
so where are we? So the specs, slightly well.
So the one other
possibly considerably like possibly quite a big difference. I think it's quite worrying for Microsoft that it is so powerful and it has this extra RAM.
We say, this is the alternative. It's going to make it a closer run thing if you were to look at the consoles on their own. But I have faith in Microsoft simply because their support for the Xbox has been so much better than Sony's support for PS3 and Vita. And
you have to look at track record.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm more confident in Microsoft delivering products and services that I'll actually want to use, even if the hardware is going to be perhaps substandard. It's like we don't know. And Microsoft could come out of the gates and say, "Hey, we've done this,"
maybe,
and just fuck you, Sony. I'm surprised that Sony went first.
They're doing this deliberately. I bet Microsoft. I mean, as you say, I have faith in Microsoft, but I reckon they're probably shitting themselves right now.
Maybe
this was a strong reveal in some ways.
It was fairly strong. The one thing we haven't talked about on the controller side was that weird stereo camera thing.
Okay, so the controllers have like a light bar thing on the back of them now.
That supposedly this new camera can track as an aid to the motion sensing.
So it's like the new iteration of the Eye that works with the move, and now has 2 eyes. Yeah. Or does it 2 or 3?
Yeah, it's 2. Yeah, okay. It's a stereo camera, and
it's a tiny little
people have been saying that it has the multi-mic thing that does as well, so for noise cancelling
and for positional.
I had that apparently. Just no one ever used it.
Oh, yeah, it's one mic, I'm sure.
It still had room noise cancelling, and you can pick up individual people, which I presume is some kind of positional, even if it's not.
Yeah, but it's always a lot easier to do that when you have a mic, because you can figure out what is noisy easier.
That's why there's stereo cameras.
Yeah,
everything's easier with 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
They just doubled up everything there.
But yeah, that's kind of odd because it's just it's almost a direct stab at Kinect.
Not really though, because you can't use it without a controller.
No, it's not for. But then why make it? But then why make it a stereo camera? Is my thing because you can determine the distance from the size of the thing you're looking at. That's how Move works. I guess it works beautifully, to be honest, on the eye.
It works better with two.
Yeah, slightly better.
Maybe.
I can't really lose.
We don't know, but it's like it looks awfully suspicious. You know,
I don't know. It's
like the Kinect technology will be patented and all that stuff, so they won't be able to use the same techniques because it didn't have the IR grid sender.
And the next generation Kinect that will inevitably come out with the new Xbox will be significantly improved. So
same approach.
So they won't be able to beat that. No way. So yeah, the Microsoft still have a big advantage in that weird space.
It is interesting. It begs the question: is they described it as a peripheral?
Oh right,
which
does it not come with it?
Well, no, this is the thing; they weren't clear.
Oh, right.
It's like the fact that they used the word peripheral makes me think that maybe it's like the eye and that it's a non-essential thing.
I guess you can call the controller a peripheral though, and they come with it. So
well, one of the things they did say about the light bar was the fact that it could change color. It makes it supposedly an easier way of then saying, "Oh, this is controller 1, this is controller 2."
Well, so.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, that's not a bad idea. You are blue player, you are red player.
They had 4 little LEDs on these on the PS3 controller, so
they replaced that with a dual use thing of a giant bar of doom.
Yeah.
Well, the 4 LEDs were kind of weirder than that because the PS3 can. I don't think anyone ever used it because it goes up to 7. Yeah, you can get a combination of. So when it filled up to 4. And then it would do 4 and 1 at the same time to say you'll play a 5. That's probably why it goes up to 7 because
because they couldn't go up to 8.
Yeah,
if you lit 3 lights up, you could.
Yeah, perhaps. No, I think there's a Bluetooth limitation.
Yeah, that was it.
But the other good thing they mentioned about it was the new low latency, low energy Bluetooth stuff.
Is it? Is that? So, that's cool.
Which,
I heard of low latency. That's
everyone's saying low latency.
It's hella important. Low latency. It's about since wireless came out, we've kind of lost this concept of low latency control.
I don't think it matters as much. It's like
you're talking hundreds of milliseconds.
Well, it's fine for the PlayStation to be all low latency or the Xbox to be all low latency, but there's still the massive, gigantic latency between the console and the TV and inside the TV.
TV lag's pretty bad.
It's like the actual TV latency isn't changing.
That's true. Well, it depends on your monitor, does it, or your TV?
Yeah, but they can't control that, so they don't.
No.
I think if you plug it into like a high refresh rate PC monitor, for instance, you'd probably have much better results than if you plugged it into a big ass telly.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. There's too much processing going on, and even if you turn your telly into game mode, it still introduces quite a lot of lag somewhere. It's like
there's an interesting John Carmack article about that where he was measuring it, and it was quite interesting stuff. He was saying he could send a packet from to England and back from Texas before he could get the image onto his TV.
Yeah, it is somewhat nuts, really. It's like there's something there that's just been fundamentally wrong. I suppose TVs don't.
But they haven't needed to do this yet.
No,
it's like they haven't adapted to the gaming market.
No, exactly. They just need to show an image in the best quality they can, and as long as the audio and video is in sync, who cares?
Yeah.
I wonder if that PlayStation TV had anything special for lag reduction in it.
I bet it did.
Because they made a specific one that was PlayStation branded.
Yeah, with 3D and all that stuff.
Probably not.
Interestingly, they didn't mention anything about 3D. I thought they might have pushed that, or what or what we can expect from like frame rates and what the resolutions and things.
They can't say anything about frame rates because that's
I know,
still going to be in the developers' hands again.
Exactly. No, I think that, and
which continues to be a terrible idea.
That's probably I don't know. That's probably rightly so because there will come a point where the 30 frames per second look is possibly a little bit more cinematic than the 60 frames per second look. In the same argument between the 24 and the 48 frames per second at the cinema argument going on right now.
But the whole point of games was that that's why it looks weird in the cinema because in games we're used to it being at 60 because it's a game. We don't expect it to look real or whatever or not real.
Yeah, exactly. There's a mind.
Or whatever the fuck the movies are meant to look like.
There, but whatever. We don't know any of that stuff, so it's like. I'd want to see like them supporting 120 hertz tellies, but with 120 hertz worth of frames, you know.
Well, basically, if anything runs at less than 60 on this thing, it will be a ridiculous disappointment at this point with the very ridiculous power it's got.
Well, they're certainly
the
all
launch
going to be.
games will probably pull it off. But
They'll all be 1080p, won't they? Definitely.
And we couldn't really see from the streams how they were running. I guess those live demos, because it's like they might have been at 60. maybe someone will report that. Come on.
They weren't running on real hardware anyway. They were running PCs.
Dev kits.
But
blah 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 blah. That's pretty much what we got. And then they moved on to some demo stuff. Yay!
Oh, the sharing stuff though. Did we actually still? I mean, are people going to? Are you going to use that?
No. Well, it depends. It depends what the capability actually is.
If they've got video of your past 15 minutes of gameplay,
yeah. Well, I mean, but it's how I can get at that they haven't really said, because it's the share.
The
No. But they've said share and upload.
Yeah.
Upload to where? Upload to who?
Well, you upload to what they said.
What if I don't want to upload and I want the clip as a file?
You download it off Ustream.
You can do that.
You can download video off of virtually any website if you want.
Well, if you flash hack it.
Well, but I think streaming sites do actually do downloads as well. Like, I know you can definitely get them from Twitch.
But what I'm saying is that this wasn't explicit.
No.
It's that kind of detail I would be interested in if I was to use it. I mean,
they should have made a deal with YouTube. I mean, come on.
They probably will.
Yeah, perhaps.
I don't think any of the streaming services are good enough. Well, it's going to be interesting, though, because it's like Ustream is a streaming service, one of several that there are at the moment, and, streaming has suddenly become popular for some reason that I'm not entirely sure of.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll last.
But, it's like, that must be a real pain in the ass for the Ustream guys, because it's just like, they have to prepare for this, like, ridiculous traffic influx when the PS4 launches.
Yeah.
Because especially on, like, launch day or whatever, everyone's going to be doing it.
Yeah. It's true.
I wonder if part of the deal Sony are helping them set that up.
You'd think they probably should, because if that goes down on the first day, then...
As I say, I think it would have been wiser, or it would be wise to do a YouTube thing. I mean, there is something... I do get it. I mean, there is something cool about if something... I wouldn't record just me playing a game, it'd be that ridiculous moment that just suddenly occurred.
Yeah.
Yep, bugs.
That's my prediction. It will just be videos of ridiculous bugs in games.
Yeah, just
anyone who ever sees a ridiculous bug.
At least that means we won't have to watch mobile phone video of TV screens any longer.
Yeah, because in Red Dead there were quite a few bug videos, but it's all people who had the presence of mind to record what they were doing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you imagine every single person could easily upload footage of a bug, there would be millions of jank videos.
My horses just died for no reason, or walked into a lake and died. That kind of stuff would be great.
About videos of flying people flapping their wings.
From that aspect, if that is what it turns out to be, I'm all in. It's going to be hilarious.
That's my prediction. That's
what else is like. It's not like you can do. Assuming you can get them off Ustream, you could theoretically do produced videos and actually cut things together after you downloaded them.
Yeah.
But even that, but then it's still only a 15-minute chunk. So do you have to every 15 minutes you have to go, okay, now upload that bit. Now upload that bit. Have a timer set to go off at 14 and a half minutes.
It's no substitute for having a proper
capsulation.
Yeah.
No. So that's even more likely that it is just going to be a bunch of bugs and shit, because it's not actually serving
or ridiculous COD moments. People making Battlefield compilations or something like that.
It's not really serving any long video form.
No, but you can stream real time, for as long as you like. I think.
They haven't really been very specific about that either, because they were you can invite your friends to come spectate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
maybe that will get around the things. So if you are uploading to one of these streaming services, that you can just pull the whole thing off the stream service.
Maybe, but then it's how many friends, how much load are they going to allow in this? The idea of spectating.
That's true.
And what server is that running for? Is that actually going through Ustream back to the other people's PS4, or is it just some kind of direct link or something?
And this probably is this the UK's first taste at the Gaikai services as well? Because I don't think we got.
So.
Yeah.
On live, did we, and things over here?
No. Oh, we did have on live, didn't we?
Did we?
I think we had on live, not Gaikai, but on live is working. I don't know what's going on with On Live though, because I went a bit.
Yeah, they've kind of gone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Supposedly in talks with Microsoft at one point, but
So Sony have obviously got in bed with Gaikai
and Dave Perry.
and Dave Perry. Worms are a lot like elephants with big ears and a long tail.
I always felt surprised by when you see Dave. You actually see Dave Perry. It's like I expect him to be a slightly more of a character than he is.
Yeah, he's actually really boring.
Yeah.
So what did he have to say, Gaikai? So what's the deal?
The Gaikai deal is the fact that they as expected, there's going to be like a demo service hosted by Gaikai. So if you want to try out a game, for instance, they will have servers running with the game you want accessible. So you can just go, let's see what this is like.
That's right. And just play it straight off without no loading balls.
Yeah, give it a go. Although a little bit of me is like a little unsure as to how applicable that really will be, given that they're the approach they want to take for downloads and game streaming in general. Like, so it's like, whoa, okay, we have Gaikai, so you could do it like this, or you could do this weird partial download thing that they talked about.
That's another thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure just how. That's the one I'm probably most skeptical about, like how that's going to work, because it will work for some games, like Metal Gear, for instance, where it had to install the whole act at a time in order for it to work, and then left the rest on the disc and that kind of stuff. I think certain games it will work quite well for, but surely there's quite a few actually where you need a rather large bulk of content
before it
for
even
the main,
works.
because that's the main.
Well, it's a nice idea. It's nice to be able to support to some extent, but some games probably work much better than others.
And it's probably a relatively expensive thing to plan for and implement. You got the game of your design. The design of your game and how it's laid out, how its content is laid out internally will probably have to be an important decision.
I suppose
if you want to support that.
Yeah, that's true. They probably won't mandate it.
Yeah,
or it'll be like, or there'll be some kind of technology built in Unreal 4 for it, because they already have streaming for a lot of their stuff, so you might as well just stream it and download it.
They like texture streaming and stuff like that, but it's hard to know. But that's for when like the player demands it, you need it that instant.
Yeah, but they could do like a more long-term plan. I'm sure there must be level load. You must just be able to like any level load that happens, you would say that's a cut-off point. But if you're coming up to that, you preload it.
Let's put it this way: it's going to be great for people on Fiverr who want to play MMOs on a console, because the MMO model is actually quite good for that, with the exception of character modelling, I suppose.
Background patching?
Just the worlds you're walking into could download on the fly, that kind of stuff. Maybe. Like the original Guild Wars attempted before the internet was good.
Yep.
That kind of stuff.
I heard the Guardian managed to get confirmation today. I just saw today that all PS4 games will be available online, so you can download them. So you don't have to go to the shops.
Interesting.
So it's interesting, isn't it?
A full-blown digital. But they'll always be more expensive.
Probably.
They'll probably be more expensive than if you just went to bought a disc.
Yeah, probably.
Annoyingly.
Almost certainly.
Well, we don't even know what that was. That's another thing we don't know. Is there a media solution?
Yeah, that's confirmed. It's a 6-speed Blu-ray drive.
That's just Blu-ray again. Okay, that's fine.
Which is faster than the 2-speed in the PS3, so your installs will be significantly faster.
Cool.
We don't know about the hard disk though.
No. 500 gigs.
Probably.
That's my estimate. 500 gig minimum.
Probs.
And it'll be a hard disk, not an SSD.
Yeah, definitely. Will it be replaceable though?
They found some success with that, I think, on PS3.
Yeah.
So
probably.
I would expect that to happen again.
Yeah, I expect so too. So, yep.
So they then showed UE4 running on it. Or UE4
not really.
UE3.
Did we say about the Gaikai? It wasn't related to that. They had the play any PS4 game on your Vita by transmission thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they're bringing back remote play.
Remote play, yeah.
Which they always kind of had, but no one supported it.
It looked quite flash though. They're trying to get as many games as possible.
It looked as flash as it did the first time they showed it with PSP to PS3. But when it works, that was kind of cool. But it just worked so rarely.
And the other thing about that, like the pre-downloading thing, background downloads.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was another thing where it was like, what kind of world do you live in exactly? Where they're like, based on your games, download games that we think you might buy.
You might like.
That's going to be real good for my bandwidth.
I'm turning that shit right off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's an option on the existing PS Plus.
It's hilarious.
To a degree. Some of that stuff is... Yeah, no. So yeah, they showed UE4 running, which was supposedly a live demo, but it's just going to be a video.
It's just the same tech demo.
Well, it was live, wasn't it? Because he could. That was what they were using.
Well, he was looking around slightly.
Yeah,
it was a PC demo from last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Running on a PC.
Yeah,
but probably a PS4 dev kit. But at this point, come on,
possibly.
And then the stuff that no one was really surprised about: Infamous trailer, just a trailer. No real.
I missed that.
Yeah, exactly. No, nothing to shout about. No one cares.
It was the dramatic.
You don't have control.
Conspiracy guy.
Yeah. Oh, right. I thought he was talking about Watch Dogs. There
was another one who also did a very similar conspiracy guy.
Right. Okay,
and there's been people that have made the mistake online of getting the footage confused between the two by showing screenshots of one saying, this is the new Killzone. No, that's Infamous. This is the new Watch Dogs. No, that's also Infamous.
It was basically exactly... I wonder how far in advance they knew that, because it must have sucked to be the second guy, where it's like, that guy just stole my bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly my bit.
At least he didn't have the car bit.
Yeah, the car bit was even more insane.
And weird.
What the Drive Club did.
Yeah. That guy was.
It was
weird.
A bit. Yeah. He was a bit too enthusiastic and a bit too. Well, he was kind of. He was the first Brit on stage, and it's just like, yeah, you're a muppet.
No, he wasn't. Dave Perry. Is he
really?
not? Is he not? I thought Earthworm Jim was British and shiny and all that. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
No, right, maybe it's American. Who knows? Yeah, okay.
Dave Perry.
Fair enough.
There was another Dave Perry who was British and was a video game commentator around the same time.
Okay.
He used to wear a bandana. Was on like Games Master and Games World a few times.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Annoyingly has the same name. And I was confused about that for a long time.
That guy totally was crazy though.
Yes. He's what Dave Perry should be.
And he did the classic failing of talking about technology where he was like, we modelled the individual light rays hitting the carbon fibres. It's like, no, you didn't.
He made a model to simulate
it's a texture.
That.
Or a lighting map.
Yeah, it'd be a lighting thing.
You didn't model individual fibres of carbon fibre.
He's from Northern Ireland, Dave Perry, apparently. Let's have a look at Shiny Entertainment. Where are they from? Shiny.
Live Wikipedia.
No, California. Yeah.
Groovy. So yeah, they did. They showed Killzone Shallow Fall.
Yeah.
Which I gotta admit, actually visually it looks really good, but gameplay wise, it's a shooter.
It looked really cool visually. I didn't really want to play it, but I mean, it looked a lot nicer than other Killzone games. Yeah. It wasn't so grimy. It was like a bit more sort of.
Well, yeah. Where in the timeline is this? So I suppose we've never really seen Vector in the Killzone series before, but it's like there's this long time up, and the weird sort of like Berlin Wall theory between like them and the Hellgun right next to each other.
Retarded.
It could make an interesting game, but it's retarded in concept. But
it was super pretty when they were like running around shooting, but then the moment he got on that helicopter, it was like, whoa, look at all this stuff they're rendering when they were flying through the city and stuff. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, so it's a very impressive demo. Just if nothing else, if visually that was what it's going to look like, then that's fine.
Yeah,
kind of like how
they look next gen.
Like it's not as bad as what they pulled with the original Killzone 2 demo. Let's put it that way. It's like this is what the PS3 could do.
Yeah, that was all lies.
Yeah, as it turned out, and then they made the game like that.
But lies.
Could be, but I don't think they'd risk that again. Considering that was completely they got rumbled on that one.
Yeah, so there was all that. There was Drive Club. It's a driving game. It's like forget headcam or whatever it is. This is real, man.
This is touch the car cam.
Touch the car.
However, that's going to work
because it's feel of the first time you sit down in this car, and it goes through the ridiculous effort of
animating the
seatbelt, and it's like 4-point harness or whatever. It's like no one.
And then, I liked how it was like it's dramatically doing all this seatbelt shit, and then you can actually see it happen where it's like, and then the camera locks. You can see the moment where it's like, okay, now we're in driving mode.
Yeah.
Clunk.
But there's other weirdness as well, because it's like, oh, who would want to play like that? Because you've got this tiny little view area, like, you've got this ridiculously pretty game, and it's like, well, it's probably going to be about this big.
Well, it's like how all car games have been ever. No one plays in car, apart from crazy people.
Yeah, the form factor's just not. You need one of those like wraparound monitor setups, really, if you're going to do that. Otherwise, just play a bumper cam or whatever.
Pretty much.
It could be alright. Maybe I don't quite know what direction they want to go in. Is this going to be the next GT-esque thing, or are they trying to take Forza Horizon on?
I don't think it's going to be good. I think it'll be a crash and burn.
I don't think it's going to be anything. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's like that seems to me to be like there's no way it can be as big as GT. It's like it's going to have like 5 cars or something. Because it's like, where did this come from? It's just sprung up suddenly, and they're making these ridiculously detailed models. That must be spending a lot of time.
Well, see, I think that's where GT goes wrong. Actually, number of cars doesn't make a good game.
No, but it's
true.
It's just like that. It's been in quite a lot of car games where it's like you've spent too long just making models and sounds, and how about making a game?
That's what Forza gets it right.
Yeah, exactly.
I sort of agree with you. The GT5 had a bit of that problem, and it's like it's another GT game, and some of the cars look really good, but most of them look awful, like that kind of thing. So then came The Witness.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I'm glad that's going to come out on PC.
I'm Jonathan Blow, and explosions are shit.
Yeah.
I loved all those explosions, didn't you guys?
The thing that got me about that demo was that he went to the effort of saying, like, everything is there for a reason, and we made an effort to make everything as compact as possible. It opens with this landscape thing, and it's like, really? So that tree is important to me, is it?
Probably
well,
is.
It's like what they said.
That's
another bit of marketing speak that I remember from, like, PlanetSide 2, where they were like, every inch of this thing is designed to be a battlefield, so you can fight over every inch of this planet. It's like, no. You fight in the installations, and that's it.
You can't really fight in this lump, or this big open plain.
No.
But on the contrary, with The Witness, it does sound like, from what the bomb guys are talking about and everything we know about Jonathan Blow, that probably every inch of that island probably does have thought gone into it.
Well, it seems like the whole idea of it is basically like the puzzles are visually simple, but the clues are in the environment, so there probably will be a lot of that stuff will be designed, but maybe there will be some. I'm sure you can't design every inch of everything.
There's got to be some aesthetic.
No.
It's like,
yeah, exactly. It looked quite cool though, aesthetically though.
Yeah, it was quite nice. As I say, it wasn't one of those demos that you're just sitting there going, "Oh wow, this really proves the power of PS4." It's just like it was a good looking game that probably could be done on our PCs,
and it's going to be so.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't have to care about that. That was fortunate because it was like, oh, that's a game that I'd actually want. But luckily, don't have to buy a PS4 for that.
It also looks a bit like every puzzle is going to, or pretty much most of the puzzles are going to be, oh, you need to draw a path on this panel thing in some way, but what that path is, you need to try and figure out somehow.
Yeah, I think that it's not going to be simple, and it's not going to be the same over and over again. It's going to be
the same as a lot of those puzzle games. It's going to be like Antichamber.
Yeah.
So then Quantic Dream turned up.
To say nothing at all.
Nothing new. People have got very confused about that graph they showed, about the poly count of the characters, and it's like, all of that is like, none of that is PS4 related, because it's like, Beyond is going to be PS3.
Right.
It's like 30,000 polygons on PS4. It's like, that's not that impressive. PS3 can do that. Shut your face. So yeah, that was...
No one knows what polygons mean.
Yeah, so then they showed their Old Man demo, which I think we may have seen... It looked awfully familiar. I don't think we'd seen it before, but, seen that kind of demo before for the last 20 years or something. And yeah, it's quite impressive. It's Quantic Dream. We kind of expect it of them now.
Yeah.
But it's like, if that's just the head and that's all, and that's running on a PS4 hardware, it's like, is that all we're getting? Is that like the best possible head you can make?
Head simulator,
yeah, and there's nothing else you can add? Like, it was neat. But
it's going to be set in the Futurama universe, and everyone's going to be a head in a jar.
Yeah, it's just
make that game.
Yeah,
it's just obvious that Quantic Dream obviously aren't
making a game.
One, they're working on Beyond, but they're not thinking of a PS4 game yet. No. Well, they're probably thinking of it, but they're not.
So
they're definitely not
bring them out.
Because they
wanted someone to say polygons.
Yeah, probably. Well, they're really good at face tech. Let's be honest. They're some of the best in the business for that.
Face.
So then Media Molecule came out with their ridiculous, weird, hey, we haven't forgotten about the Move controller.
I want to see how that actually works, that sculpting bullshit.
I wasn't... The sculpting, I think, was okay, but that demo where they're moving the guys around, it's like...
That looked like marketing.
It's like, how did they control like all the other things? Like, the location of where they are, sort of, I can see that you could work that out. But then, how did they get him to pick up the guitar and then hold it in just a certain way?
That's all preset like animation and clip points, isn't it?
It's
I guess. Be, like that you model the guitar and then you say when the character picks up the guitar, the attach points for the hands is here, and it changes its pose to this.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I think that whole thing was pre-done, obviously.
Well, yeah.
I don't think that represented a real game. It didn't seem to.
It doesn't represent a game anyway. It's like sculpting.
The actual sculpting application, though, looked cool.
It could be cool as a little mini app. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be a full product, but they could release it as a cheap app for use on the main.
Yeah. Put it into home and then have it be like Second Life really good.
Yeah.
That could be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah, people
apart
are
from
making
millions of dicks.
Oh, yes.
Precisely rendered sculpted dicks.
Little veins and shit.
Forever of the penis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Use that quite nicely for spore shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's as soon as you put crafting tools in the hands of people, just dicks.
So then Capcom came out to sort of show off their Deep Down engine, the Panta Ray engine.
Panta Ray.
This is an insane name. But Deep Down was the game they're showing. I liked his translator guy, because obviously he comes out and talks this, typically Japanese.
Yeah.
And then
the language.
Yeah. But then his translator guy sounds like a Harley biker. He's like, kind of go, hey, we're playing this game.
Yeah, that's true. He did sound pretty hardcore. He did look like he was so muscly he didn't really fit a suit.
Yeah. He looked a bit like...
how did he become a translator? He was like... He used to work in a motorcycle shop that did international shipping. And he gradually became good at languages.
He's a wrestler who's also very good at languages somehow. He was strong on the sumo circuit, maybe. That's how he picked up Japanese. But yeah, I couldn't help but think that lead character in the Deep Down demo looks a lot like Zaid from Mass Effect.
I didn't see enough of him, but maybe, I guess.
But it's quite an impressive demo if that was running.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Thematically, it just like looked Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
they can't look like Demon Souls.
It's just another whatever the two other games they made. Yeah, Demon Souls.
It's fine.
And that other one, I forget.
Yeah,
that wasn't there, was it?
It's quite classical design, isn't it? But classical. So then we saw this Luminous demo from Square again, which we'd seen before. Again, we'd seen that before, but they hadn't said. We saw that at E3 last year, but they hadn't said before what it was running on. This was like we were building this. Presumably, they were building it on an insane PC at the time. And it's like, well, here's what we want to achieve with the next Final Fantasy game, and they just took the same demo and said, I wonder if this will run on PS4.
Oh wait, it does.
Oh wait, it does. Yeah, it was a bit, lackluster because we've seen this exact demo before, so it's like you don't really need us to show this.
No. And then they said,
and we're making a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, as they said in the little wrap-up video that I saw, it was like, and the Square came out and showed the same demo again, and then they said, we've got something else to show you at E3, lol.
Yeah, and they got a whole different guy to come out and say that.
Yeah.
In one line.
Yeah, it's like, thank you, Final Fantasy is coming, thank you.
Why is that Luminous game not Final Fantasy? It looks like it could be a Final Fantasy game.
It's the name of their engine.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that game doesn't look like it.
It'll be it's an interesting world they have in that demo, isn't it? Like with guys with guns.
Yeah, sort of.
Well,
it's not like It's not like Final Fantasy hasn't had summons and guns before.
No, but
quite a lot.
Well, but if they go that route, I'm kind of happy about it.
But it doesn't. I don't think that.
I like that.
I think normally when they do demo, it seems to me like when they've done demos for Final Fantasy before, they slip in a very specific Final Fantasy thing just to make sure you know it's Final Fantasy.
I guess, yeah.
It's like that dragon wasn't Bahamut. There wasn't any materia going around.
No, there's no chocobos.
No.
It's like, where was the black mage?
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing. So another gameplay demo of Watch Dogs came up.
Watch Dogs.
Looking like Watch Dogs. Still looks pretty cool.
I like the thing when I saw someone's comment about that where it's like, he does all this hacking shit, and he's like, "Oh, look, that woman's about to get robbed. Let's go and follow this criminal dude and stop him from robbing this woman." In the process, let's murder a load of cops.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to stop crime by killing the law enforcement. Lol.
He doesn't actually. The only time he causes harm to the cops is when he crashes that car.
Well,
So he doesn't actually shoot at them.
yeah, but that car was going pretty fast.
And yeah, the slow mo was cool. But yeah, I as before, it doesn't really tell us anything new about the game. It's kind of looking how I think we expected it to turn out.
Modern day Assassin's Creed,
Yeah,
basically.
which is probably no bad thing. I think.
Well, apart from they should you be making the Assassin's Creed game that's going to be the modern day Assassin's Creed when, like Desmond's story and all this shit? Maybe get around to doing that.
Well, they have announced that the next one after 3 isn't going to be
in
America anymore. They're changing scene straight away.
Cool.
They've probably done all they really wanted to do there.
They probably realised that everyone hated 3.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking.
People did, apparently.
It's more so than Revelation? Because that's got a bit of a bad rep.
Well, I think people were more disappointed by 3 because there was more expectation.
Because it was free,
Revelations.
not a sub of 2.
Exactly. It was being made by... The studio that made 2 had just made 3, after that, and all the other ones were another studio, weren't they? I think. So I think people...
or the many Ubisofts.
Yes.
Yeah. So, which is a shame, which is interesting because I think that means that Brotherhood turns out to be probably one of the best in the series, if not the best in the series, although arguably.
So Blizzard turned up
for some reason
to say, "Hey, we're making a console game,"
so that they could put a giant Blizzard logo on their screen, and that was basically why.
Yeah. So they're porting Diablo 3 for PS4 and PS3. So,
no, that game caused a huge stir when it came out,
and
now nobody cares about it.
Yeah, and I think it's historically it's probably a good thing for Blizzard to be doing because they used to have a bit of a relationship with Sony with the early Diablo games because I think they got PS1 releases.
They did,
and
I think they worked okay on PS.
Yeah, exactly. That game I think could work pretty well on a console.
Fine, sure.
So. But
I would play it with a controller.
But I was kind of like, it's Blizzard. Oh, it's been quite a long time since Diablo 3 came out, like over 6 months. It's like, presumably they're going to tell us something new and groundbreaking. No. Disappointing.
No.
It's Blizzard.
It's like, why even release it for the PS4? It's fine to release it on PS3, but by the time the PS4 comes out, it'll be hella old.
By the time they release it for the PS3, it's probably going to be like by the end of PS3's life cycle. It's like releasing anything.
But it's not it's not a new and awesome looking enough game to make people care about it on PS4. I don't think more because
probably not.
After all that time has passed.
Maybe it's just to say, hey, look, PS4 can do MMOs. It's sort of
not even an MMO.
It's not really, it's not really, but that sort of game-ish, perhaps. So then we pretty much finished on the Bungie thing, saying Bungie are supporting PS4 and PS3. Yeah, the Destiny will release on both, apparently.
I still don't get why they're putting Destiny on the current gen console. Seems like an odd decision when it's supposed to last for 10 years or something.
Well, it'll just be a version of whatever.
Yeah, but it seems like they're limiting themselves. I mean, I get that there's a lot of money there in 360 and PS3 markets and stuff because of the established base and stuff.
That's probably just because they started work on it for those consoles, perhaps.
Maybe.
Not knowing, not having a realistic guide as to when the new ones were coming out, and it's like, well, now that we know, we can make this a version even better.
But they still haven't said enough about what it even is to know. It's like, is it a single game, or is it meant to be like an MMO where they're just going to update it over time? Or...
Yeah, we don't know.
As my note is, we still don't know much more than it's going to be a shooter, and co-op plays a big role.
Well, no, it's kind of implied to be massively multiplayer. Like, they keep using words like raid and dungeon.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean massively multiplayer.
Well,
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, true.
Because, those are instances which aren't necessarily MMOs at heart anyway. When you go dungeoning.
Raids, in the World of Warcraft speak, raids implies like hundreds of
They were talking like 6-player raid or something, 7 or 8.
That's not
that's a dungeon.
Yes,
raid.
Dungeon.
Okay, dungeon, yeah.
And that's it. That brings us to the end of the PS4 meeting.
Or something.
And then they said, coming holiday 2013.
for a high price because of that RAM, which is probably going to be worth it on the long run.
If they say $599
US,
I will be a happy man.
Funny.
It's going to be more.
It won't be more.
It can't be more.
It's going to be so expensive. It's going to be like $1,000.
What makes you say that?
Because they're crazy. And then if they had thought they could get away with it, now it's just a PC, it'll be like, well, how much would you spend on a PC?
In a weird way, I think prices are definitely...
Especially as a PC that's going to last 7 years.
I think the prices are going to go up, like this generation. And weirdly, the way my head is working with that, and I think it's because of tablets. You might think of the amount of people that buy
ludicrously expensive tablets,
like myself.
Yeah,
it isn't. People find money for this shit.
But tablets is like they sort of seem. This is a ridiculous perception thing, but it's like the perception of a tablet is like it's more expensive because you've had to miniaturize all this technology to cram it in here to make it run so well.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There is that.
Whereas in a console, you're looking at this giant fucking box, particularly if it's just a PC now.
We don't even know
what PCs are like, giant fucking boxes.
Exactly. We don't even know how big the box is going to be for the PS4 because they didn't show it. No. But that doesn't bother me at all.
No, it's not. Even if it looks like a George Foreman, again, it won't matter.
I think the funniest thing would be if, like, when they actually show what it looks like, it's actually a vertical tower. Because that would just be the ultimate, like...
The PC, yeah.
It's like, how is it going to fit in my entertainment centre? It's a vertical tower, fuck!
Like the 90s, like, with, like, multimedia on...
With a turbo button on the front that changes a number.
Oh, yeah.
Sony inside.
It's like actually we've discovered that PC components work better when they're vertical.
Fuck you, Gravity. Yeah. So that's that. I feel like I should be more excited than I am.
I mean, you're not. It's like you're less interested in PlayStation anyway.
Yeah, I am.
As you discussed earlier about you don't think they're going to support it with actual games and shit.
You're true, but I should be impressed by the tech more than I think I am.
I don't think they've been specific enough about it either, really. It's like, especially now, it's been so long since the last consoles, we're all just used to PCs now, and, PC tech has been doing what it's doing.
Yeah, and this is just a minor step up from there. It's not like, I feel like when the last stuff came out, and, you first popped Project Gotham 3 into the Xbox and saw the motion blur and saw the level of detail there.
That's inevitable, isn't it?
And that was, but you know what I mean? That felt like a massive step up from the PC at the time.
Right, yeah.
Your equivalent was Battlefield 2, I suppose, being one of the most visually impressive games at the time. And it's like, and then PGR3 just comes along and goes, wow, this is a level of quality and a level of a look that we've never seen before.
You're not going to get
And also, we haven't really, specifically.
No.
It was like N64s and shit.
Well, yeah, from a console. I had an Xbox, so...
Yeah, Crysis 3 came out this week, and, I saw that quick look, and shit, that looks freaking amazing.
And there's a great trailer for it as well, with the ZZ Top trailer.
I haven't seen that.
It's playing Sharp-Dressed Man, and then it just ends in the words in the middle of the screen saying, suit up. Women go crazy for a sharp-dressed man.
We'll be playing Guitar Hero. Man, I miss Guitar Hero 1 and 2.
You could play them.
Can't play 1.
You have a PS2.
No, I don't anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got rid of the Slim.
Yeah, well, I think I left it at my friend's house, and then he's got it, and then he did pay me back for it, but not until like last 2 weeks ago or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's oh shit, I've got your PS2.
Yeah. It was really because he lives in America.
Oh
so
shit!
But he paid me back. It was really kind of him.
That is really kind of him.
Yeah, and he paid me at
the price it would have been.
It would have been, yeah.
That's really good of him.
He's a cool guy.
Kudos to you.
He's a cool guy. Zan Naz. He's the man. He's your friendly neighborhood DJ in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Word up.
Yeah, word up.
So I had some crazy fucking dreams this week.
Oh, good.
Oh no, here comes the random.
I'm pretty sure I had a couple, but I never remember them. I just woke up and then I thought, holy shit, that was weird. Pretty weird, and then I went back to sleep.
Well, normally I'm the same way as that, where I can't remember it. The reason I bring it up is because I quite vividly remember this one, and I don't quite know why, like what it was about. So let me take you through this journey.
Oh no.
It's not as bad as it seems, really. It's just like I can't quite work out why I was thinking of these things. It was like earlier in the week, and so it starts off with me going through what looks a bit like an airport in its design, and I'm sort of going through border control and that kind of stuff. But as it turns out, it's like an international train station, a bit like Eurostar, a bit like Ebbs Fleet, but a bit more grand and a bit bigger scale, more like an airport.
Some Pancras sort of.
Something like that, yeah. And but then something happens. Some guys come in wearing balaclavas and stuff like that, beat us over the head, bag over the head style. Oh no, I've been captured somehow. I'm not quite sure what I've done. And the next thing I know, the bag's been lifted off her head. And we're walking along. We seem some distance away, but we're still near train tracks. And it's like there's this is where it starts getting properly fucked and like a tiny bit weird. So we walk on the tracks. It's like it's the middle of nowhere. You can't see any of where we were. Anyway, it's kind of grassy. There's a bridge going over it. It's a bit like when you're coming into London, I suppose, down the Liverpool Street run, except a lot wider. So wide enough for the fact that there can be houses in between the tracks.
Okay.
And in this first house, for some reason, through the window, there seems to be a sort of happy family scene going on, like with a sort of hippie pink and orange colours, like on the wall for some reason, and a girl dancing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then but we just walk past that, and then we go to the next house.
Oh no!
Which is all blacked out and stuff like that, and we get put in this house, and we sort of look back as we're walking past this first house to sort of see what's going on. It looks like whatever this weird shit was going on in that room is some kind of facade. Like it's all a ruse. But for some reason, this house is happy go time. So like we're putting this thing.
What the fuck?
They can only pull off the camouflage in that first building, and then the next one's just blacked out.
It's in between the middle of the
train tracks.
For some reason.
Dramatically positioned.
So yeah, and then there's a little bit of sitting around in what looks like a rusty container for some reason
inside this house.
Yeah, there was some conversation happened there between the hostages. Like it wasn't just me, as it turned out. There was quite a few of us, and then so.
You've been taken by your international train station.
So for some reason, right, this is where the cap. What's the word? Our imprisoners, I suppose, don't seem like the best terrorists in terms of their intelligence, because it's like the next thing I know, they didn't think we could just keep them here while we go about our business for whatever reason. No, they take us with them wherever they go.
Okay.
So we end up going to being taken to, I think, well, it looks a bit like a laundrette / barber shop. I might have been both at the same time. We're sort of sat on those rows of chairs that they sort of have in there, and sort of like or being given menacing looks, like as if you better not run, kind of thing. Don't know what's going on here. Naturally, I get up and run, and then get out of this thing. And then I'm running down the street, and they're starting to shoot at me for some reason, killing some bystanders.
Naturally.
Naturally, right? What the fuck?
And then this is the weird. This is where the scene changes. Slightly more bizarre. Suddenly, I'm in an area that looks a bit like Cambridge in terms of its architecture, sort of rivers and bridges and stonework, that kind of thing. But I appear to be in the middle of some kind of music festival for some reason, and I'm being followed by these guys, and I know I've got to try and get away and stuff like that. But at this point, I kind of know, like, oh no, but I haven't got a ticket, and they'll need to see my ticket in order to get out of this festival.
Because you're trapped in the festival.
Why am I here? So instead of like going, the only route out of this festival is over this bridge, and it's got this marked by people, and it's like, oh no, those two, I think it was two girls, these two ladies are going to stop me, and I'm going to get caught and get shot. It's like, so instead of going over the bridge, naturally I dive in the water.
Of course.
Security.
It's Creed style.
And find myself in this like, what looks like a university sort of like dorm complex, I suppose, but with many more barriers and and gratings and things like that I'm trying to jump over. And it's here that I bump into a couple of other of the hostages that I was with, and they explain, "Oh, it's this mysterious order. There's people everywhere. They're gonna come get you. It's like you can no one's safe." And that's pretty much why I woke up.
Right. Awesome.
But it's just like the level of detail that I remember about it. It's just a little bit insane.
That's a cool story.
Cool story,
bro. That could make a good game. It's like Assassin's Creed, basically.
Break out of the music festival. So I thought that was worth sharing.
Cool. Okay.
So what does my dream tell me? What does it mean?
It tells you need to finish more of your music tracks. You're trapped in the music festival.
Trapped in the music festival. That's what it is. The endless creative cycle.
Indeed.
There you go.
Okay.
Don't go on Eurostar.
Or otherwise you'll be captured and taken to a strange second house beyond the first. During the train tracks. The hippies dancing happily in the first house will ignore you as you are taken to the grim second house.
The grim second house.
Whereupon you will hang around for a while in a rusty container.
Which it isn't any less sort of camouflaged than the first house, really. It looks exactly the same. It just doesn't have this hippie room at the front.
So, yes.
There you go. I feel better for getting that off my chest.
Right.
Thanks, I'm glad we could provide you with a forum here on the Saladcast.
Therapy session.
Indeed. Right, so, Rob, what have you been playing?
Maybe this will be like where some of the influence came from. I don't know. I'm playing a lot more XCOM. Don't know quite what that has to do with the order or anything like
XCOM.
So I'm right at the end of that game.
Yep.
I'm on the last mission.
Sweet.
And I attempted the last mission and kind of ballsed it up real bad.
Easily done, I imagine.
Ethereal's
because
evil.
it's a bastard mission.
It is a right bastard.
And also because it's like badly designed, basically.
Well, yeah,
it's just
the
like
ending of that especially is a shit.
well, it's just like the whole concept of this mission. It's like it makes sense where it's like going through all of the aliens you've seen in like individual little partitions,
Segregated
basically.
species rooms, almost.
Yeah, but like the whole idea of that mission goes against the way the rest of the game is designed to play, basically.
Yeah,
and then it also then that's made obvious by like, oh, you failed, restart.
Yeah,
because it's locked you into this basically sequence.
Yeah, I got myself really screwed up at the end. So, potential spoiler warning.
Yeah,
the end of the last mission is basically just there's a single long corridor with no cover in which you have to walk through, and it's the moment you get into that room. 2 ethereals, an uber ethereal, and a couple of elite mutons spawn.
Yeah.
And like most of them have Overwatch on, I think, at that moment. So getting into that room is really difficult without someone dying.
Well, it's like you sort of had to realise that it was going to be like that, and just have all your crew standing as close to the final door as you could, and then everyone runs in at once. You can't like scout it.
Yeah. So I had a problem when I did it because the door was open for me when I got there. And secondly, I didn't really quite expect that whole sequence and for them to just appear and for me to be boned. So I had a mind-controlled muton under my command at that point, who I just ran the fuck in there.
Well, that makes sense.
But then it just set off the whole sequence and my guys weren't near enough and it's like, well, fuck.
But then you just snipe them when they're walking down that incredibly long thin corridor.
Which worked for a bit. And then you realise that sometimes if those ethereals I hate their fucking can reflect your attacks.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just get tons of that in a row. So a couple of the ethereals just come out of the corridor and mind control a couple of your dudes, and you're like, well, fuck, I'm really quite boned here.
So I haven't worked out what the actual mechanic for the reflection is. Like, is it just like if you miss badly, then they reflect, or is it just like any miss gets reflected, or is it some other weird statistic that you're not actually aware of?
It's really hard to tell.
I was thinking, well, it's like, what if you deliberately use laser weapons? It's like, can they reflect lasers? Because it's like plasma bolts, that makes sense, but it's like lasers, it's just like a beam. They should be able to reflect that.
So after my dramatic failure, and this mission's a long mission, it took me like an hour and a half to get to this point, so I was retrying that segment, reloading that segment and trying many different tactics with my current team to try and get work. I'd lost my shiv at this point, which was kind of annoying, and had 5 other guys, and only one of them was really psychically trained.
Yeah,
and it's
the main one.
Yeah, the volunteer, and it so that didn't go very well. So I've come out of that and I've now tried to train up a squad that is like Psy aware, and also I've got I've got most of the upgrades and stuff now. Like it's pretty much everything you can buy I have.
Yeah,
and it's so I've been trying to do build up a new squad from scratch so they get that will bonus that will hopefully stop them getting mind controlled, and picking out a squad in specific from the next one and giving them all the mind shields so they can all, like, in theory, survive that stuff a little better.
Or you can go for the really dumb plan.
A total shiv.
Yep, all shiv squad.
But then you can't... And what, one guy to repair them or something? Or...
Well, you have to have the volunteer, so...
Yeah, give him the repair tool.
Well, not even. Don't even bother, just go with shivs.
Just go with
5 hover shivs.
That could be funny. Yeah, maybe I'll try that. Just to sort of see what the sequences are like with just him.
Yeah. Because they can't get mind control.
For some reason, they can't put shivs in the intro sequences.
No.
So, like, whenever you go into a mission with robots, it's like they don't appear for some reason. You just have your dudes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of entertaining. So yeah, I'm doing that. I'm also playing it with the controller now.
Yeah.
Pretty as my primary method of control.
How's that going?
It's pretty good, to be honest. Not only because of the weird additional vocals you get, which are sometimes kind of annoying. Like, a lot of people will say, I'm going on Overwatch. I'm going on Overwatch. I've got my eyes on.
They say it every time.
Yeah, they say it every time. But they also have, like, the little acknowledgement stuff when they're moving, even, is more... And
everything you do.
It's like, there's the question, like, why is that not there when you're using the mouse?
Yeah.
And it's like, but there is it does make it easier to actually see around the level, because the mouse can they make certain walls and stuff go invisible when you're moving around to try and make it easier to see where you're supposed to be pointing. But that can sort of glitch out a bit with the mouse, and sometimes it's actually hard to get it to go where you want. But then the controller has a similar problem in that when you're pointing where to go, instead of getting the nice sort of like cube marker that comes up to say you're selecting this square, it's like you just get this little round cursor and it kind of moves kind of freely, and then your character snaps to the square when it finishes, which has screwed me up on a couple of occasions because it hasn't snapped to cover or has gone somewhere next to it. And it's well, I'm pretty sure I'm in the snapped location. The little shields are showing. It's like, and it just hasn't gone there. And you're like, well, fuck.
Well, you have to jiggle it. It's like when you get near to the square you want, you have to like push it towards the cover a little bit and make sure it goes boink and pulls back and snaps into the square.
Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of irritating because sometimes it just doesn't seem to do that or doesn't work, and then you're like boned because you've got a guy standing out of cover or something. You're like, well, fuck, I'm going to have to use my second movement or something just to put them back into where I want to go in the first place.
I think I've only ever had people get in the wrong position when I've pushed the button before I've checked that it's got there. I'm just like, well, and it's like, oh, wait, you've ended up in the square next to where I thought I was pointing.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's happened a few times. And it's like, and I know there isn't a controller equivalent, but I kind of do miss the number key shortcuts after a while, because the only one you get is Y to go to Overwatch.
Yeah.
And then you have to use the D-pad to move between them, and the list doesn't circle, it seems. Like I can't go left from the start to select something at the end of the list. You know, little things like that are kind of... But I do generally, I think I prefer the controller mechanism to the mouse and keyboard, but I kind of wish there was a hybrid option. Like because it disables the mouse completely. Like you can't use any of the menus once you've turned it onto controller.
For some reason, it doesn't fucking turn off the mouse cursor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really annoying.
Things like that. It's some really weird decisions there. Like I quite like to do the meta game with the mouse, maybe, and then and the Psy labs are really glitchy on the controller.
Are they?
Yeah, you'll add someone to the list and it'll go, fine. So you'll move down to the empty slot in the Psy labs and go, I'll add someone to this, and it will sometimes replace the first guy. And we'll just like keep doing that as you add. Like we'll go back and replace ones you've already had. It's like no, you'll like take out someone that's been in there for like 9 days or something who's got 1 day left. So it just makes sure it just means you always like do a full batch and then wait until everyone's out, so you don't like waste time or something in there. So that's a bit glitchy, but still a heck of a game. But I think the end game, that last mission makes a few mistakes, like just that last room.
the second to last room is still a bastard.
Oh, what, the double sectopod?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucker.
Well, that one was a bastard because that's when I discovered that sectopods are actually, like, just hacks. It was like, because the first time I went in there, I got, I think the first...
They could attack twice and Overwatch.
Well, yeah, that for a start, but that's something you have to deal with. But, like, I think the first time I went in there, I had both my shivs get immediately destroyed, which kind of sucked. But it was like, I think when I tried it again, I went in there and I was like, oh, there's going to be sectopods down here, obviously, because that's where they spawn. So I was like, I knew where they were going to be. But if you go up there and, like, trigger them, no matter where you go from then onwards, they can target you with their missile barrage. Like, I literally pretty much ran all the way back through the previous room, and they were still shooting at my previous location every turn, because they could still know where I was.
Oh.
It was like,
so they don't have to be able to see you to shoot.
No.
Well, I suppose maybe it falls under the free aim category.
Yeah, but it's like, how would they were targeting the square I was in every turn. It's like, if I hadn't have been moving every turn, they would have been hitting me.
I see. Oh, that sounds like a glitch.
But yeah, that was a bastard. And it's just like, and that room is just not designed in your favour at all, because there's no cover to get clean shots on them, and they always sit right at the bottom under the...
Yeah, and a lot of the cover that is there gets immediately blown out.
Yeah.
And it's an evil room.
You just have to rocket them.
Yeah. I think that's how I ended up dealing with it. And my sniper's pretty damn awesome.
Well, yeah, obviously snipers.
I'm
still yet to test whether that other sniper, the top tier other sniper skill, actually lets you. Because in theory, those can't go into cover, so you could just be able to shoot them instantly.
So yeah, XCOM.
Mm-hmm.
Still good, but I'm losing momentum now.
Oh, you're right at the end.
You're right at the end, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's annoying that it's not even when I'm doing that. I think seeing the ending bit and knowing how bad it is has kind of made me less enthused about...
just cheap it.
Yeah, well...
There's several ways you can cheap it.
Okay.
Obviously the main thing, which maybe should be obvious, is like you only have to kill the main ethereal. So if you just dump all your fire on it as fast as possible, you could maybe just get it down, and then it'll trigger the end sequence.
Oh, I did have one level that I had one mission that I decided to restart because it started off so badly. Like, it was one of those cargo ship missions, but I started sort of at a weird angle,
right,
from what you'd consider the front, I suppose. And as I walked forward, turns out there's like 4 different squads right next to the bloody spawn point. So I move a guy out to cover. Oh, I found a group of elite mutants. Move another guy to another bit of corridor, like, another bit of cover, sort of like, I better put him in a good position to deal with this. Discovered a cyber disc. Moved another guy, discovered some chrysalids, and finally, just because I thought, oh fuck, there can't be anything, I'll get this guy to move a bit further forward and get some good cover and vice backwards, a sectopod. And I'm like, well, fuck, there's no way I can win this one. So, yeah, unfortunately my save was before the drop-off and it generated a different level. It's like, I'll do that then. Yeah, I got that. That was a bit of a shit.
Apparently the easiest way to do that last mission is just to snipe it. Like, because of that incredibly long corridor, if you've got a sniper with a squad sight, you can just put them on a bit of cover outside the end of the room, open the door, and basically just snipe that elite guy in the face immediately.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, perhaps if I had that. Well, yeah, if I could get a guy into the room.
Well, yeah.
So to see it.
Assuming the door's meant to be closed.
Yeah.
Or if you've got a mind control lead on, run in the fucking there.
Yeah. Yeah, it unfortunately didn't play out quite like that because I didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
And then, yeah.
Alright, so you need foreknowledge.
Yeah.
What's going to happen.
It seems like a better approach.
You have to be screwed over the first time to know what to do.
Yeah, I'll take like at least 2 shivs next time and perhaps 3. And then, just to reduce the possibility of mind control, which is a real bastard.
Yeah. It's bad enough when
I've never seen it fail on the alien side either.
Oh, I've seen it fail a few times, but they always automatically target the lowest will person, so it always succeeds.
So yeah, hopefully I'll play it a bit longer to get my new squad up because I've picked the guy. I'm training the guys that seem to have naturally high will, so maybe they'll be okay once I put them in mind shields or psi suits or something like that. See how that goes. So it's been that. What else have I been playing? Played a tiny bit more Need for Speed Hot for Shoot last night.
Whoa! Classic.
Well, yeah, it was kind of like where it's like 10:30. I don't really know what to do. I don't really want to play it. I'm not in an XCOM mood right now. What do I do? Let's just bang this on. And it's like, every time I play that game, I feel like there's so much good here, but it just doesn't play very interestingly. It's a dull, soulless experience, really, but it's just a shame because technically it's very, very well put together.
It's a shame because Burnout 3 just had so much style and panache.
Yeah.
And they've kind of lost it since, I think, in some ways, Criterion.
Yeah, it's a real shame. So, yeah, kind of felt a bit empty after playing that. Hollowed.
You're definitely not interested in the open-worldy one. What's it?
Nah, I still sort of am Most Wanted, but everyone says the single player is not very good, and that it's all about the multiplayer. And I wonder how much of that scene is left after this amount of time.
Just play Blair.
Yeah. Still has a PC following. Just
well, last time I went on there, it was 20 people.
Yeah,
awesome. Get them all in the game.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else I've been playing. Don't really know. I'm still attempting Sonic 4. I finally got all the Chaos Emeralds on that because the special stages get really hard. Like, really hard. The last 3 are kind of really quite difficult. So there's that.
Cool. That sounds like your...
Oh, I had one bit of negative to sort of say about... I've been playing Outwitters on the iPad quite a lot. It decided the other day that, I don't like you. I'm going to make you lose all your games. And it's like... But I'm just as I was starting to get the upper hand on them as well, games that I'd turned around, and it just then basically says, no, you've lost. And it doesn't say why.
Right.
It's like, well, what the fuck just happened? So I've gone off that game now. It's like, it's just, humbug. It's like, I don't feel good for like being on the upper hand and it giving it to the guy that was losing. It's like, what? Hit some kind of turn limit or something? But, I don't know. Don't know what happened. So fuck that game. And I also played a bit more Space Team with Eddie, and it's amazing.
You were on a Space Team.
Space Team. Yay!
So Zeg, what have you been playing?
I've played all kinds of shit. It's been a week of... It doesn't feel like... It's been another one of those weird weeks where it's like... It doesn't feel like I actually played anything I really wanted to play. I just ended up playing things. Apart from Braid, I played that and that was good. So, yeah.
Because of Jonathan Blow?
No, just because I remembered that Rob got that for me for Christmas or whatever. Or was it you? I can't remember. Someone got that for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should probably play that. And also because I was...
Had you not played that before?
After Antichamber, I was like, I need more puzzle.
Need more puzzle? No, it was on your list for ages, wasn't it? Actually,
you never played Braid?
No.
Oh, cool.
I put it on my wish list at Christmas because the old 10 things on your wish list achievement.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what can I put to fill up these slots? Because I don't want to put shit on there that people might actually buy me and that I don't want.
I thought of something else I've played that is topical.
Oh.
So how'd you like Braid?
It was good. It was not long enough.
It does get kind of tricky towards the end, but by your standards, I suppose it's not long enough.
No, it's like I blew through it in an evening. Well, no, actually, I did sleep. Yeah, I did do it in one sitting. It was pretty close to one sitting.
So the ones towards the end get kind of tough.
Yeah, sort of. Actually, what fucked me up was I missed stuff right at the start of the game in like the first world because it's kind of dumb. It was like one of them I didn't. There was one piece. There was 2 pieces that I knew I didn't know how to get to. Of the 2 pieces of the puzzle.
The puzzle. These, in addition to the ones you needed to it, like. Or...
What do you mean? In addition to the ones you needed?
Because you don't need to get all of them at all times, do you?
No, you don't need. I don't think you need to get any of them necessarily.
No, that's just an extra, is it?
Yeah. But so there was 2 pieces in this in one's in the. Basically, I came through to the end of the screen and there was 2 pieces that I couldn't work out how to get, and I was like, well, obviously I don't have whatever I need to get those at the moment. And then I went through the door onto the next screen and there was another one, and it looked sort of similar in the way it was positioned as one of the previous ones, and I thought, I can't get that one over. And then completely blanked over the really obvious way to get that one, And then when I came back, and it was like these last 3 pieces that I had were the only ones I hadn't got in the entire game. I was like, what? I haven't got any more skills at this point. I haven't like unlocked a new ability or anything. So I must be able to get these somehow. And then I noticed that really obvious solution for that one. And then it's because it's the meta. It's like it's one of the places where it gets like even more meta than that whole game is anyway. Where it's like this one puzzle piece that I skipped over the really obvious solution for allows you to make a platform in the picture, and then you can position that, and that lets you get the other 2 that I missed. And I was like, oh fuck!
Yeah, I figured that one out.
Somehow because I skipped that one piece that I missed the obvious solution for.
You didn't have the piece.
I didn't realise that you can make that platform.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a cooler one, that one.
Yeah. That's in like the demo, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do that in the demo.
Yeah, I completely missed it. But there's way more meta stuff than that anyway. Like, I sort of suspected, but I didn't know until I went and looked up, because I was like, I'm done with this. I've got all the puzzle pieces, but there's like the super secret stuff, the stupid stars.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah, I never went and did it, but
I sort of... The funny thing was, I nearly accidentally went to where one of them was, but... Because it was just... Well, it was one of the easier ones where you just had to basically double jump off an enemy to get up onto a platform, and then the level scrolls up, and it's like, oh, there's stuff up here, and then you do some other things. But I was trying to do that, because I was like, oh, that looks a bit weird. There's like this suspicious-looking bit of level where it looks like if I double jump off of these guys, I can go off the top of the screen. Maybe there's like a Mario exit or something. And I was trying to do it, and I was doing exactly the right thing, but apparently I just never just quite got enough height to get onto this platform. It's like I was doing exactly the right thing in the right place.
Just didn't quite get the execution.
But I didn't quite get up there, so I never saw it. And then I was like, well, obviously there's secret things. There is the, like, outside the house, there's like, you see the constellation in the sky.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's where the stars are. That's where it shows you how many you've got. But then I went and looked up, and it's like, yeah, well, fuck those stars.
There's no point in it.
Well, yeah, and they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you get what? Like, the easiest one in terms of execution is stand around for 2.5 hours. Because basically there's just a cloud platform that moves incredibly slowly along the whole length of the level.
Yeah, that's the one I knew about. So you could fast forward it and make it slightly less.
No, but you can't though, because you can't fast forward further than where you've got to.
Right. Yeah.
If you could put it in 8 times speed and just infinitely speed up the level, then that would be a lot quicker.
Who discovered that? Really?
Well, it is kind of like there's this really obvious out of place cloud platform, but if you didn't stand there for several minutes, you probably wouldn't notice that it was moving because it goes so slowly.
That's crazy.
But there's way more. The later stars are ridiculous. I mean, one of them is a bastard where you have to use that platform that you make in the level 1 picture in like the level select screen. Because you can stand on it there as well. But also, you need to have 2 other puzzle pieces from the next level, but you can't assemble them. So you have to do this before you've put them together, or otherwise you're screwed and you have to start the whole game over. And you have to position them because they're like the outline of a star on the frame of that picture, and these 2 pieces have the star on it, but not connected. They're like the wrong way up. Okay. So you have to position those in the world, and then position this platform so you can actually jump up and get it.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's a bastard. And then there's ones where you have to like do this whole level, but there's one where you have to like get an enemy to be in a specific place, which is already a kind of like you have to lure this enemy onto a moving platform and then move it into this position. And then you have to like basically stand there and let the enemy like jump at. It's one of those routes. You have to let it jump at you a few times, and it's like, why would I do that? But then, like, you have to go through all this other stuff, and then eventually you come to a platform where you have to jump off that enemy in midair by rewinding to the time when you were letting it jump at you.
Right.
Like, all the way back at the start of the level.
Jeez, that's intense.
So, yeah, I looked at the videos for those, and then I was like, yep, fuck that.
That's insane.
Jeez.
It's the fact that people figured that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I'm always amazed by that.
But yeah, the rest of the game was good. But it is sort of like Portal 2, where it's like, they have all these awesome mechanics, but not quite enough puzzles. Like, I wanted more, especially with like the later ones, like the left-right time thing and the ring mechanic. I thought those were awesome, but not sufficient.
Yeah, I think a lot of those ones I actually ended up solving fairly accidentally. Like the time just happened to be at the right. I managed to adjust it enough that it's just things happened to work in the right way.
Although the one of those that was the most busted was that stupid fucking the left to right time thing with that key.
Yeah.
God, that level was a pain.
I remember that one. That was a pain. It was a royal pain.
And there's one of the stars in there where you have to do that whole... Basically do that only even more.
Great. Super joy.
So yeah, that was great.
Shall I tell you what I ended up playing that's topical?
What is topical?
Devil May Cry.
Oh.
I have played the PlayStation 3 version of that.
Oh,
the first 2 levels of it.
Right.
It's so good.
I heard it was good.
So good.
That's the one that they were making like 5 minutes down from my house.
Yes,
that office.
Ninja Fury in Cambridge. Yeah. Yes, it's yeah. Just from what I've played, the style is amazing.
Sorry?
The fans will stalk you.
Yeah.
You told them where you live.
I think they know we're Ipswich
right,
Cambridge
okay.
based.
Down the street in Cambridge.
Yeah. No, we've mentioned it several times. But yeah, there's a couple of times we've gone on a phone one about Ipswich local knowledge. It's like, why are we talking about this?
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's the execution of the combat is good fun. It's really well done. It's at least on the first 2 levels, it doesn't feel unfair at any point. Anything that you come across could have, you feel like, I could have done something about that if you got hit, for instance. Incredibly satisfying. The soundtrack by Noisia and Combi Christ is brilliant. Like, really good. I don't have a bad thing to say about that game.
You're going to play through it then?
As I say, it wasn't my copy, so I don't actually have it to continue.
You're going to get it?
But I'm tempted.
PC,
I'm tempted. Yeah,
for 60 frames, goodness.
Yes.
Yeah,
I want a frame rate.
Surely you need your new video card if you're going to do that.
No. Apparently, Devil May Cry is very, very good at running on reasonably crappy hardware. Like the scaling job. Well, partly because the fidelity, they don't really, you don't get much more fidelity than what you'd get out of the console versions. They haven't made more graphics for the PC. It's just by that logic, a straight port, I guess. But you get some improved anti-aliasing because that's naturally what the PS3 is bad at is anti-aliasing, and so you get some more of that, and some of the lighting is apparently different in places. I went into I tried reading the comparison things because people were saying it's a big deal on PC about frame rates and stuff like that. But to be honest, I thought it was perfectly playable.
Yeah,
at 30 on the consoles. They've done a pretty good job of making that not a problem. So yeah, I really liked it. From what I've seen, I will hold back on a full explanation until I play it properly. But holy crap, from what I've seen, it's really good. Awesome. And
you got more stuff, Zach?
Yeah,
probably.
I played several other things. I think the other main thing I played was I went back to Torchlight 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
I don't know why. But it had the classic problem of I can't even remember how I was specing these characters or what skills I wanted. And then, but luckily my main character, it was when I tried to play one of the other lower level characters because I obviously had a plan, but because at that point in the game I hadn't really put very many skill points into anything, I didn't know what trees I was going down. Whereas with my main, it was I'm already way down these trees, so I'm just going to put more points into those trees.
Way down.
But then I remembered the other thing. I remembered one of the things that annoyed me about Torchlight 2 pretty quickly, which was there's quite a lot of things which just seem to one-shot you, and it's really annoying. Because I can be doing perfectly fine for ages. Admittedly, I have a slightly weird spec on my main character because I'm playing an engineer and my main defense is a shield that you generate, which only lasts 30 seconds or absorbs a certain amount of damage. So every 30 seconds or as soon as it breaks, I have to be resetting it. And the strength of the shield is based on your charge meter, which is a thing in Torchlight 2 where every class gets charged from basically fighting. So, the more things, the longer I've been fighting, the higher the charge bar gets with the engineer, and then you use it to power up your shield just so it lasts longer. And I also have a thing where occasionally when I kill enemies, I just automatically get full charge.
Okay. Random chance.
Yeah. So it's like basically all my defense is based on that. So that, that can go wrong, where it's just like, an attack slipped through while my shield was down for that moment and then I died. But there still seems to be quite a lot of things where it's like, I'm pretty sure I had my shield up and it just totally murdered me.
Yeah.
I mean, I said about it before, but there's a lot of it is designed to, like Borderlands 2, where you're meant to move more. Like, you can't just stand there and take it. You actually have to dodge and see attacks coming and avoid them. But there just seems to be a lot of things where it's like, I thought I was doing perfectly fine and now I'm dead. Suddenly.
Well, you get that in Guild Wars as well, to be fair.
Well, maybe.
You go into a situation and it's like, I'm doing pretty good, dude. Blat! What the hell was that?
Maybe. But it's just, I don't know, it's alright. But it just still, it annoys me when it's like, because you don't want to die in Torchlight, you want to have that be a low stat. It would suck if it was a hardcore character.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like you don't really know what happened, that would be the worst.
Yeah, so what happened? I just lost several hours of play. Tens of hours, potentially.
Yeah. And then, so I finished that. I finished Torchlight 2. I got to the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of dumb and a bit anticlimactic, really.
It was kind of dumb in the first game, let's be honest.
Well, sort of. At least it had a story that built up to something. Because in Torchlight 2, you're chasing the alchemist and you're like, we got to stop him and we chased him and then you just find him and then you fight him and then he dies and then you fight the actual boss like immediately after, well not immediately, but like a couple of floors later, here's the actual boss and then it's just like a big thing.
Oh, the alchemist dies?
Yeah.
Oh.
He doesn't look anything like he used to, as much as I remember anyway. So it's probably okay. But yeah, and then you unlock the ability to... It's like, at that point, once you finish the game, you unlock the ability to use the maps, which are like the random levels, except they're not really. They're just like... I guess they must be made out of the random bits again, but they're just like the levels you've already done. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's like the texture packs of levels you've already been in. Just a new version of those dungeons. And maybe they have puzzles, I'm not sure. But they also have like global effects where it's like, in this dungeon you'll heal less or your pets will do more damage or whatever. But then also you can New Game Plus. But then that actually... It's like, you all the way to the end of the game, and it's like you have these two people you talk to. It's like, New Game Plus woman and map dungeon person. And so I went and did one of the map dungeons, and I was like, yep, that's a level 50 dungeon, because I'm level 50, and I bought a level 50 map, and it makes sense. And then I was like, okay, let's do the New Game Plus, and then it's like, okay, it sets you back to the start of the game, but then you can't do the maps any longer. It's like, you can only do the map thing once you get all the way to the end of the game.
Do they not have those endless dungeon...
No, well, or maybe they do. Maybe at the end of New Game Plus, there's like
the endless thing,
an actually endless thing. But I guess the maps are sort of the replacement to that now,
perhaps,
sort of, because they're a lot more. It's not like you randomly find them any longer. You just buy them off the dude next to the map gate, and they tell you like what level range they are and what type of map it is and all the abilities and stuff, just right there. But yeah, that was kind of weird. So I started New Game Plus, and I'm not sure if I would play more of that. I don't know. It kind of sucks to play New Game Plus as well because you lose some abilities of like NPCs. It's like when you start the game again, you don't have the NPCs that can remove the gems out of your armor.
Oh, I see, because they appear at a certain story.
Yeah, because you get them through the story. And of course, I had all the gems in my armor set up for the last levels, where it's like, okay, I need all fire and electric resistance. And then, of course, in the first dungeon of the game, you need all ice resistance. It's like, well, now I can't take these gems out of my armor, so I'm kind of boned.
I suppose, would you have that stuff at the start of your first game anyway?
No, not really, but now it's all scaled to level 50. So I'm going to be taking more damage or whatever.
I don't know. I was kind of excited about Torchlight 2 at one point, but...
You don't have time to play it.
There's that. And, yeah.
You've got other things to play. And that are similar as well, like Guild Wars.
I've put nearly 40 hours into XCOM in the last month.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good for me.
Yeah.
In terms of time in, but
you've got Guild Wars.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing.
Should probably do more of that.
You'd rather play that co-op than Torchlight 2.
Well, I don't know. When I was playing Torchlight 2, I was like, I kind of want to play this with someone. That would make it actually more fun.
I thought it might be fun co-op. I was thinking.
But then you might as well play Guild Wars, really.
Does it support up to 3 co-op?
It supports up to Yes. I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm not sure what the actual limit is. I think it might be 6. For some reason.
So
choose a random number.
Magica. Let's play Magica.
Yeah, there's that as well. Although, actually, the reason we don't play Magica is because its netcode is so bad that every time we play it, we're like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible.
Well, we haven't tried it on my fibre yet.
Yeah, but it was so terrible. It was like worse than dial-up on your normal broadband.
No, true. So maybe it'll be like how normal broadband is.
Maybe.
Because, when we play Borderlands 2, which is something else, I guess, we play periodically.
Yeah.
Nothing really to say about it. It's, the fibre, me acting as a host seems to work pretty good.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, it's like, now it's all on my connection, remember I'm lagging on that.
Yeah.
And I still do, occasionally.
But generally it's a lot more stable.
Cool.
Or it looks a lot more stable. You don't judder it quite so much as you used to.
Maybe.
Borderlands.
But yeah, we played some more Guild Wars as well, I guess. Or I played some more Guild Wars more than Rob did.
Well, I played once, didn't.
Yeah. And I've been playing it's because now that the daily rewards give you an actual reward, a new currency, as I said before, it's like I'm playing it to do the dailies and maybe do the monthlies. I'm at 2 out of 5 dungeon completions. I only need to squeeze 3 more in the last 5 days of this month.
Yeah, good luck.
It shouldn't be a problem. Just find a random group. And also I've been making sure to, when I'm looking for group, I'm looking for groups for stories, because the explorers are so much harder. Just do the stories, those are easy, relatively speaking. But yeah, so I played quite a lot of that, and...
We played Left 4 Dead, all 3 of us.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead 2.
That's alright. I somehow managed to survive.
Yeah, you're the only one that survived. Yeah, you just ran for the chopper and the rest of us are all lying on the floor.
Well, I didn't mean to leave you guys, but I thought there was a health pack on the stage because I deliberately left it there because I thought, well, should I pick this up or not? And I left it not knowing. So I was going back to the stage thinking that's the only place where there's a bloody health kit left. And then there was nothing there. And then I just circled around and went up on the helicopter because I was confused about what the hell was going on.
But it's kind of, I almost think that when you get going back to Left 4 Dead 2 after a rather long hiatus is all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could play many rounds of that.
It's not as good as the first, I'm sure.
It's strangely doesn't appeal as much, does it? No. Or maybe it was something about the awkwardness of the Xbox setup, or that raised some tension there somewhere, or.
Oh, that was all being in the same room is awesome.
We suck more on the Xbox, obviously.
Yeah, also, it was a good setup with the lights down and stuff. 2 monitors. It was cool. Anyway, yep. I played a bit more KOTOR 2. Woo! The story is progressing. Slight spoilers. It's doing a kind of weird, because it's already been doing this thing where it shows you stuff that your character can't know is happening. It sometimes shows you scenes where your character isn't there. So it's done that again. But now we've met some Jedis and stuff, and the Jedi woman is super pissed off with me, typically for stuff that I had no control over because it was stuff my character did in the past. And you get flashbacks to what happened in the past. And it's like a hearing at the Jedi Council where you're going to be at Chactal because you did X, Y, Z, whatever. And you can interact.
She was happy with it.
You can kind of interact in that you can justify in different ways what you did, but of course you can't change what you did. So depending on your alignment, you can give different reasons for why you went to war.
I see.
But you can't change the fact you went to war because your character went to war in the past. You can't change it. So it's kind of weird. You've got no agency over what happened, but you can kind of change in the past how you justify what you did. So it forces you to justify something that you had no control over doing.
I suppose you could come out. You could still do that and come out. Well, I was the hero of this scenario.
Yeah,
it's I just did it for the shits.
Exactly. Either way, you get that choice.
Or for the shits.
You can say I did it for the shits, or you can say I did it to be noble and shit. And it's got to involve shit somehow. But it was kind of interesting. So it continues to be intriguing, and it continues to have really bad environment design, boring and not very.
It doesn't look very interesting.
No, but the story continues to be intriguing. So I shall continue with that. Indeed.
Is that it?
Did you have more, Zeg? Play a bit more Far Cry 3. I've got all the outpost on the first island kind of sorted, so I'm going to do a bit more story. But probably for next time. Whoop, whoop.
I was trying to remember if there was anything else in particular. Oh, I played quite a fair bit more Planet Side 2.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I was trying to, see if there was any more reason to. I mean, one of the things that was funny about it was like you actually gain certification points over time, even when you're not playing.
Right.
So I came back and it was like, oh, I've got some more certs. I can actually spend them on actually something useful, maybe. Cool. Although I didn't really. I was like, I've got 200 cert points, which is enough to buy one of the more important upgrades. Like, I could actually buy one of the special medic abilities, like the medic grenade or the revive grenade. Actually, I think the revive grenade costs 400. But it's like 200 is not enough for a gun. It's like those are 1,000 or the cheap ones are like 500 or something. So I was like, well, I actually don't want to spend this. I'll just keep saving it. So but then when I played for a while, I was like, oh, I've actually earned like 30 cert points tonight. And that's enough to buy a scope. So it's like, I don't feel so bad. I was like, I'll keep my total over 200, but I'll buy a scope. So I already had a 2x scope that I'd had before, because that's actually a pretty good scope, I think. Because it's a reflex, so it's not like a full scope. Which makes it quite nice for slight amounts of zoom and quick. Yep. But then I also was like, maybe I should buy the night vision scope and see what that's like. Because when it gets dark in that game, it gets fucking dark. But of course, it's a night vision scope, so it's only one time. It's no zoom. It's just like night vision, and it is like night vision because, as in, it only goes like 50 feet and then it stops. Right. So it's not actually very useful for the way I play. And also the fact that it is
that game's kind of long range anyway. To be fair.
Well, yeah, but it's also the fact that it's like it is a scope, and you have to like pull it up, and while you're looking for it, you walk slowly and. I don't think that's as useful as it should be.
No.
But yeah, so I played some more of that and tried to follow the main mass of people. I always get bogged down in that game with like, I'll start the game up and I'll be like, okay, where's the fight? And then I'll try and find like a squad or like where the main mass of people is at the moment. And I'll go there and I'll be like, okay, we're going forward and we're going to this base and then we capture the base and then everyone leaves. And I never quite catch people. It's like, I'm thinking, okay, like, I should jump in one of these vehicles that are driving past as they're all leaving. And then I don't. And then I get distracted because there's always like a single squad of enemies that are still lurking around and they're like picking people off and it's like, oh no, if someone doesn't kill these guys, they're just going to come back in here and camp it again. So I always get distracted like hanging around at a base and be like, there's still a couple of dudes somewhere around here, I can hear them. And then the whole rest of the force buggers off somewhere and then I'm like, oh shit.
I'm in trouble here.
I kind of need a ride. Because I never like to spawn vehicles for some reason, even though I really should.
You should just spawn those like buggies. I
do that sometimes. The other, I don't know. That game's it's too easy to get distracted by defending, and defending isn't really worth the effort. It's like I'll see a flashing area on the map, and it's like, oh, I can see by the flashing areas on the map. Here comes the main enemy force, and looks like I should go there because they're going to be there in a minute, and then I can defend. And then I go there, and it's like, well, that attack never materialized for some reason.
I've done that plenty of times. So, yeah, they've improved the map, haven't they? To aid that somewhat.
Actually, it's sort of improving incrementally. But the first couple of patches they've done is like now the hotspots show up better, and it shows like which teams are actually fighting in the hotspots, and you can see the hotspots on the other continents because you used to not even be able to do that. But apparently, the next upgrade is to make it so that the spawn map has all that information as well, because that always sucked. When you were spawning, and you didn't actually have the same information, so you couldn't tell where the fights were, so you didn't know if you were about to drop pod directly into a whole pile of enemies.
Yeah. Probably still does that when you first create a character.
Yeah, probably.
Hey guys, have a fight. I'm like, what?
But the other thing that has been weird about is it was kind of weird. I saw someone talking about it on a forum, where it's like, oh, this fucking fight. And I was like, wow, I don't know why I read that, and it didn't really have any significance to me. But then when I went into the game, there's this one specific base in one of the continents. It's not even one of the big bases, it's just like a small outpost. But it's a small outpost on top of a really tall hill, like a vertical, with like cliffs and shit. And that base is fucking impossible to assault. And everyone constantly fights there. It's like all day, every day, everyone is just fighting over that one point, and that's the only hotspot in this entire continent, and everywhere else is just like stealth squads taking everything else behind them. It's just like this one goddamn place that's impossible to attack.
Sounds like my kind of place.
But it sucks. It's not actually a good fight, because all it actually is just like, because of the height difference. It's like vehicles below can't shoot up, and so people are just rocketing them from above, and there's no real paths up there because there's only like one road that spirals around this cliff. But it's really dumb. It's like the never-ending fight every time you go there.
So
always
basically,
that
it's
one
a
fight.
bigger version of the Spire on Badlands.
No,
Which sucks.
because the Spire of Badlands is a lot smaller for a start.
Well, yeah. But it sucks. I hate that bit of level.
It's fine.
I think it's alright.
Badlands.
Rocket jump class
Just
now.
Badlands.
But it's like it's that bit in Planetside does kind of suck, because it's like it just draws everyone in. And it's like, this would be much more fun if we were fighting over things we could actually capture, and like in more interesting, not the same bit of level over and over. And it sucks the population of the world in.
We're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, apparently.
Looks like we're out of time on the Saladcast.
Pizza time.
Pizza
Oh my
time.
god, I'm getting
Indeed.
hungry.
I'm so hungry.
Right. Okay. Thanks for joining us for our PS4 reveal podcast, plus plenty of games we've been playing.
And weird dreams, apparently.
A weird Dreamcast. Woo!
Therapy session.
Like a Dreamcast. One of the best names for a cast. Links in with our original discussion.
I wasn't complaining about Dreamcast, mate.
Indeed, it's an excellent
Sega
name.
Dreamcast.
So we'll join you again for more talking about games next time. Probably more on the PS4. I wouldn't be surprised.
Join us for more of more.
Indeed.
SimCity next time.
Oh yeah.
Woo, SimCity. So catch us for SimCity next time. Bye. The hippies dancing happily in the first house will ignore you as you are taken to the grim second house.